Jake, what do you think about the high-definition television?
It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Wait till you turn it on.
Is it here?
It's here.
It's here! Oh, thank the Lord. This is the best thing that's ever happened to me. Besides you, honey.
Dan, you do not have time to watch TV. Go change your shirt. We're gonna be late for my class.
Cheyenne, I do not want to go to some stupid husband panel. We have a flat screen, high definition TV. I finally have something to grow old and get fat in front of.
Dan, it's for my sociology class and I'm getting graded on it.
They're grading on your husband? Well, I hope they're grading on a curve.
And these women are coming to find out what men really want from marriage.
You know what men really want from marriage? I can't really tell you in front of your mother.
Dan, you're going.
All right, fine. You know what men really want from a marriage? A high-definition flat-screen TV!
Reba, I need your help. I am desperate.
No, not now. I'm gonna go watch Dr. Phil's big old Charlie Brown size head in high def.
Brock and I are being audited by the IRS. Reba, it is not funny. I think we are in real trouble here. Now you know how I've been doing all of our tax returns?
Yeah, what's the problem?
I've been doing all of our tax returns. Here, take a look.
Well, right off the bat, I'd tell you to stop doing the I heart the IRS stuff. It makes you look desperate.
I am desperate. Oh, Reba, I'm going down. I'm headed for the big house.
Barbara Jean.
Promise me, Reba, if I get sent to prison, you will do something to get sent to prison, too. And then we can break out like on that show. You're gonna have to get the layout of the prison tattooed on your body, so you're gonna need to gain some weight. Okay. Oh, God.
Calm down.
Oh, I love how tough you are. When we're in prison, I'm so gonna be your girlfriend.
Barbara Jean.
Yeah?
They only send you to jail if you lie on these forms. Not because you put glitter all over it.
I would never knowingly lie. I mean, so if I just made these mistakes because I don't know what I'm doing, I should be okay, right?
Yes, you should plead dumb. Trust me, after they talk to you for a little while, they'll let you off. Heck, they'll probably even pay for your ride home. All right, Dr. Phil, polish up that old bald head of yours.
Even if we didn't go to prison, I'd still so be your girlfriend.
My roots are planted in the past, though my life is changing fast. Who I am is who I wanna be. A single mom who works too hard, who loves her kids and never stops, with gentle hands and the heart of a fighter. I'm a survivor.
Reba, we're back. Just like a cold sore.
Hey, that's a reoccurring mosquito bite.
The audit went great. You are gonna love yours.
What do you mean?
Brock, go.
Oh, yeah, well, it's a funny thing, really. It seems like once they take a look at your returns, they get all excited and they want to go back even further.
How much farther?
Yeah, well, it's a funny thing, really. Oh, wow, is this new?
Brock.
Yeah, the last 3 years of our marriage, you and I are being audited.
Wait a minute, we got divorced. Didn't you get the audits and the settlement?
Reba, you've got nothing to worry about. I'm sure that your returns are in order.
That's right, Reba. As far as you know, everything's fine.
Last time you said everything's fine, I heard Barbara Jean giggling in the background.
Do you remember that time?
That was so... Well, anyway, look, it's really no big deal. I mean, you remember when Harry, my friend from dental school, set up that charity for us in the Cayman Islands?
How come I never met Harry?
Oh, you haven't? Oh, well, we'll have him over for dinner in 3 to 5 years. Anyway, turns out that was more of a charity for the people who donated to it than it was for the poor Caymanians.
So the charity was a scam?
Scam is such an ugly word. No, it was more of an illegal tax shelter, and I got out as soon as I found out. But the thing is, I never paid the money back, and I never told you about it because you're so big on the truth and everything.
How much?
Well, it's not a lot, hardly anything.
So sell something and pay it back, like that tanning bed you claim not to have.
It's a rental. Anyway, I gave the money I saved to a real charity, Reba. I made it as right as I could, but this is the IRS that we're talking about. You don't tell them that you scam, that you sheltered money from them. They will crawl into places you didn't even know existed.
He's right, Reba. He can't go to prison. Although it would be nice for you to see Harry.
Reba, promise me that you won't say anything. Trust me, you did not want to open up this can of worms.
I'll think about it. Now go home and tan up. I need you looking good for the audit.
Welcome, everyone, to I Do Is Forever, Marriage from a Man's View.
This seminar is forever, and I wish I had a view of the game.
Thank you, everyone, for writing all of your questions for our panel. Now, let's meet our happily married men. This is Van Montgomery, happily married to me, Taken. And that's Herman, and that's Doug, and they're married to other women. Okie dokie. First question.
First question, why am I here?
This one is for the cute one.
Well, that's gotta be me. Thank you, ladies.
Remember, ladies, these men are married, especially Van. All right, the question is, how did you meet your wife?
We met in high school.
Aww.
Well, thanks again. They like me.
Okie dokie. Next question. For the hot one.
Me again. Sorry, Doug.
What is your wife's worst trait? Okay, that's a good one. Van?
Ooh, that's a tough question. I'm gonna have to say I can't tell which of her eyes are prettier.
Yeah, isn't he charming, ladies? But remember, we really do need complete honesty in order for the panel to be helpful. Okay, next question. When did the really hot guy know that his wife was the one? Okay, you guys, this is ridiculous.
Okay, I'll take over now. Let me tell you a story how I proposed to my wife. I rented a hot air balloon. Hot air balloon. And as we hovered over the field, I pointed down there. And carved in the crops were the words, "Will you marry me?" And I handed her a glass of champagne with a diamond ring the size of a cockroach. And then she fainted. So I picked her up gently and kissed her softly on the lips. And when she awoke, she said the words, "I will. I will."
All right, that is enough. He's a goon and he is a liar. He didn't propose to me. You want to know how he knew I was the one, Maureen? When he asked me to homecoming and I said, "Oh, okay, but don't forget to buy me a corsage and some diapers because you knocked me up."
And I married her anyway because I knew I loved her when I looked into her gorgeous left and right eyes. Next question.
Yeah, how are you getting home?
Ladies.
Hey, guys, I took some pictures of other people's children for you to claim as dependents. Although the black kid may require some explanation.
Well, you knock it off, Barbara Jean. Everything will be fine as long as Reba doesn't say anything.
I've thought about it, and I'm not gonna lie.
What? This is the IRS. You have to lie. You have any idea what they could do to us?
You said it wasn't gonna be that much money.
Yeah, well, see, here's the funny thing. It could be a tad more than I led you to believe.
Do you ever stop lying?
Well, it wasn't a lot initially, but what with penalty and interest, it would be a ton.
How much is a ton?
Well, it would put you in a huge hole, and Barbara Jean and I might lose the house.
What? Brock, you never told me we could lose the house. I can't live under a bridge. Not again.
Brock, how could you do this? How could you let this get to a point where it would cost everybody so much?
Only if they find out if you get on board, none of that's gonna happen.
I'm not lying. It's bad karma. It follows you around. That's why you've had such a lousy life, Brock.
She's babbling and turning pink. She's gonna rat us out.
Will you two stop beating on me? That's their job. Now look, Reba, just let me do all the talking, okay? All you have to do is smile and nod.
Well, you are a better liar than I am. I just wish you were more likable.
Okay, everybody just shh. All right? The walls have ears. Trust no one. For all you know, I could be wearing a wire. Well, actually, I am under here, but it's just a lift and separate.
Oh, will you stop, Barbara Jean, for heaven's sake?
Hi, my name is Agent Miller. Come in.
Smile and nod, smile and nod. Hey, Agent Miller. Hey, I'm just gonna go out there and play with my black child.
So, Mrs. Hart, how are you today?
Fine. She's fine. We're fine.
Good. I'll be working with Mrs. Hart, and Dr. Hart, you'll be down the hall with Agent Fung.
Fine. But I thought we were gonna do this together. I mean, you didn't separate Barbara Jean and me.
It's just our policy with divorced couples. They're always so eager to tell on each other. Plus, when there's nothing to hide, no one minds.
Oh, well, there's certainly nothing to hide. Right, Reba?
Dr. Hart, will you come with me?
Is this gonna take long?
How long have you got?
Fung just kills me. So, Mrs. Hart, before we get started, I have to tell you that the IRS is a lot more lenient if the taxpayer comes forward with any issues or problems. I'm sure there aren't any, but I have to tell you that, okay? Mm-hmm. Okay. We've been over everything, and it mostly seems to be in order.
Okay.
But there is one tiny area of concern.
Oh,
You probably know what I'm talking about.
Cayman.
What?
K-Man. Okay, man, lay it on me.
I'd like to talk to you about 1998.
I was drunk that whole year.
Try to think back. Did you work for Dr. Hart full-time?
Yes.
According to this, you worked for your husband full-time, and yet he only paid you minimum wage. Was there any compensation paid under the table?
Oh, no, he's just cheap.
Mm-hmm. He looks cheap. Anyhow, that's the only problem we had.
Great.
So you just sign here, and we send it off for one final review, and then you're done.
Super great.
Miller. Hi, Fong. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
What did Fung say?
Oh, just IRS-y stuff. Oh, before you sign, if there is anything that you knowingly and willingly omitted and you sign this, the penalties of perjury apply.
Perjury?
Mm-hmm. So, is there anything you left out? Something you might suddenly remember that you might want to share? Something your ex-husband may have spilled to Fung?
I was thinking, since those ladies at your seminar loved me so much, I should write a book on how to be the perfect husband.
Ha! You should write a book. You should call it I'm a Perfect Liar, and I met a girl and I made up stories about how I met her so I could impress stupid college girls, which are stupid anyway.
Well, it doesn't leave a whole lot of room on the cover for my picture.
Here's my book. I married a hot jerk.
Oh, I get it. You're a little jealous because I got all the attention.
I am so not jealous.
Oh, please. A perfect husband can read his wife.
Why did you have to lie, Van? Is the truth about our lives really so awful?
Honey, what are you talking about?
I just felt like you had to make up some fantasy about what our life is like because you're so ashamed of it.
Cheyenne, I made up a fantasy because that's what I wish had happened. Not because I'm ashamed of it, because you deserve a memory like that. You deserve to be proposed to in a hot air balloon, not, what? You're pregnant, what are we gonna do?
Really?
Yes.
That's why you lied?
Honey, the only thing I feel bad about our relationship is that I haven't tried to make it 100 times better.
Hey. Baby, come here, baby. Did you really mean that thing about not knowing which one of my eyes is more beautiful? Because I kind of think that too.
I meant it all. Oh man, I really should write a book.
Reba. So, how'd it go with Agent Miller?
Fine. How'd it go with Agent Fung?
Fine, fine. So anything you want to tell me, Reba?
No. Anything you want to tell me, Brock?
Tell you?
Uh-huh.
Oh, well, let me think. Yeah, there is one thing. You sang like a bird, didn't you?
What? No, you're the rat. Anything to save your own skin, huh, Brock?
Oh, cut the act, Reba. It was you. You should have seen the look on Fung's face when he was talking to Miller on the phone. Oh, the very interesting.
No. Horse feathers. My gal didn't call your guy. Your guy called my gal, talking about how you were down there spilling your guts.
Oh, I didn't say anything, I swear.
I didn't say anything either, I swear.
Wait a minute. It was a trick. It was a trick. They were trying to get us to believe the other one was confessing to try and break us.
So neither one of us talked about the Cayman thing?
I didn't.
I didn't either.
Oh, that means we're okay. We did it. Oh, I always knew I could trust you, Reba. Oh.
Yes. Oh, wait. Hello. Oh, Agent Miller.
Miller time.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. All righty. Bye. We owe the government $75,000.
What? What are you talking about?
Back taxes, penalty, and interest! $75,000!
I don't understand. I don't understand. We didn't tell them anything. How did they find out?
Fung broke me.
obviously on Reba.
The audit went great. You are gonna love yours.
Turns out that was more of a charity for the people who donated to it than it was for the poor Caymanians.
So the charity was a scam?
Scam is such an ugly word. No, it was more of an illegal tax shelter.
I'll be working with Mrs. Hart, and Dr. Hart, you'll be down the hall with Agent Fung.
But I thought we were going to do this together. I mean, you didn't separate Barbara Jean and me.
It's just our policy with divorced couples. They're always so eager to tell on each other.
We owe the government $75,000.
How did they find out?
Fung broke me. Well, you know, I was just passing him in the hallway, and he said something about how would I like a cup of coffee, and I said, well, hey, with the amount of money we owe you, I should buy you coffee. And then it kind of all just came out.
Barbara Jean, do you realize what you've done? Now we owe the government $75,000.
Why are you blaming her? You're the one that lied in the first place.
Yeah.
Oh, cut it out, blabbermouth. Okay, this is not happening. This can't be happening. I don't have $37,000, Brock.
Actually, your share would be $37,500. I'm splitting hairs. You go ahead.
I'll never be able to pay my half. I only have $18 in my purse. I don't even know who's on the $20 bill.
You know, they just put Jack Nicholas on a Scottish 5-pound note. What? I'm a sucker for all things Scottish.
I gotta do something about this, Brock.
Why me?
Because you're the one who lied in the first place. Then you went and married Kelly McCan't Shut Up. She with the wee little brain.
Oh, nice, nice. You know what? Brock, we can't talk to her when she's like this. We should just leave, and quickly.
Reba, hey, listen, maybe you could take out a second mortgage on the house.
Fourth.
Fourth? Good God, woman, what do you do with your money?
Oh, that's it over.
All right, look, maybe we can work out a payment plan with the IRS.
Oh, yeah, how about $1 a year for 37,000 years? Because that's all I can afford.
Actually, it'd be 37,500 years.
You know what? Just get out. Listening to you gives me a headache.
Fine. Come on, Barbara Jean, let's leave Reba alone. Reba, if it makes you feel any better, I'm disgusted with myself, too.
Okay, all right, come on. Let's not leave it like this. Come here.
Eh?
My roots are planted in the past, though my life is changing fast. Who I am is who I wanna be. A single mom who works too hard, who loves her kids and never stops, with gentle hands and the heart of a fighter. I'm a survivor.
Do you really think that you're gonna scare someone off with a lightsaber?
I will if I use the Force.
Wait a minute, Van. When I went to sleep last night, didn't you have hair?
Yeah, I know. You know how I like to go to bed with gum in my mouth? Well, I'm not doing that anymore. Intruder! Ah!
It's Mom, cleaning the oven at 2 in the morning.
Hey, maybe she's sleep cleaning.
I'm not asleep. I gotta figure a way out of this IRS debt, and I do my best thinking when I'm drinking. I mean, cleaning.
Well, this is there anything that makes you want to cook? Because I think the best when I'm eating.
We've got big financial problems here. We're making some cutbacks. You ate yesterday, so technically today is your day off, okay? I'm also thinking about selling the car.
You're not gonna get much for your car.
Not my car, Van's car.
No. You will not sell Rhonda. I will see you go to prison before I let that happen.
Hey!
Barbara Jean, how did you get in here?
I climbed in your bedroom window. I'm not knocking on your door at 2 in the morning, Reba. That would be rude.
Why are you even here at all?
Because Brock's decided to sell our house.
What?
He feels so guilty he wants to pay the whole debt, and the only way that he can do that is to sell our house. I'm losing my home, Reba. My child is going to be without a home.
Does Mr. H have a broker yet?
What? Man, why would you even ask that?
You know, that's no reason, does he?
Okay, whoa, wait just a minute. Brock is taking care of the whole debt with the IRS, and I'm not gonna have you as a neighbor?
Yeah. Isn't it awful?
It's awfully something.
I know. I mean, if I move out of this block, I'm never gonna see you anymore.
Oh, no. Sure you will, Barbara Jean. You can set up lunch twice a week.
Cheyenne, don't help me. Barbara Jean, I don't know what you want me to do.
Reba, I want you to get Brock to change his mind. I mean, after all, you're the one that put that awful thought into Brock's weak and pliable brain.
No. I just told Brock to fix the problem. His weak and pliable brain came up with the rest.
Yeah, well, I blame you.
Of course you do, Barbara Jean. And you know a good way to get back at her? Use me as your realtor.
Well, how would that get back at her?
I'll drop her. She's dead weight to me anyway, and I've been thinking about going solo.
No, you haven't.
Yes, I have. And I don't think I can work with Mrs. H after what she's done.
Well, what is it, Reba? Do I hire your backstabbing partner, or do you help me?
I'm sorry, Barbara Jean.
Come on, Barbara Jean. I'm gonna find you a wonderful new home where you can feel safe. What's your price range?
Not much.
Then I can't guarantee safe. Here, let me walk you home. Hey, Barbara Jean. Is this a bad time?
Well, actually, yeah, Henry was
Great,
just
smile.
Ooh, everything's all sparkly. Oh.
This is Jenny. She's gonna be taking pictures for the brochure.
Hello? Van, wait.
And since Jenny was gonna be here, I figured she'd take some pictures of me working my realtor magic. Down here by the couch.
But Van. Oh, that's nice, Van. I like that. Van, stop! Okay, as much as I'm enjoying the light show, we're not gonna need to make your brochure anymore.
Sure we are. Remember, this is how we're gonna get back at Mrs. H.
Yeah. But Van, I don't want to get back at Reba anymore.
Got it.
Okay, Barbara Jean, don't start yelling at me. I'm just here to help Van with this brochure.
But Mrs. H, remember, we're no longer in business together?
You guys, I'm not mad. Last night, I had an epiphany. Do you all know what an epiphany is?
Is that some sort of booze?
No. I was going over in my mind what happened at Reba's house, and I said to myself, Babby J, that's my American Idol name if I ever make it, fingers crossed. I said, Babby J, Reba is never gonna let you move away from her. All right, now let me explain. Reba, how many times a day do you call me?
0.
And how many times a day do you come over here and pop in on me?
Never.
Now, how many times a day do I pop in on you?
50. And apparently sometimes at night through a window.
Exactly. Now, there's no way you would put up with that if secretly you didn't like me.
I think somebody needs to stop knocking back on the epiphany.
She always does this. I get into trouble and she pretends to be happy and calls me a moron and a butt, you know. But then at the end of the day, she rides in and saves me. She's like my guardian angel with a really mean sense of humor.
Barbara Jean, this thing is bigger than the both of us. We're mere pawns in God's great chess game of life. And it looks like your pawn is gonna be way on the other side of the chessboard.
Oh, okay, that's right. I'm a pawn. All right, I'll play along, Reba. Okay, Van, let's go get some pictures of the bird bath for that brochure. Okay.
Yeah, birds take baths. Okay, let me get my pigeon loofah.
Hey, Mom. Is Dad here?
Oh, honey, I don't know. I just got here myself.
Well, would you give this to him? These have a range of over 2 miles, so I can call him when he gets to his new house.
Will do, Jake.
And he's still gonna be able to coach my basketball team, right?
Oh, yeah, you bet.
And on Thursdays, we go to that diner and have waffles. We can still do that, right?
Absolutely, honey. It's gonna be just like when he was over at his condo. You'll get to see him all the time.
Cool.
Yeah.
And be sure to give him that walkie-talkie,
I
okay?
sure will. You bet.
Hey, did I just hear Jake?
Oh, yeah, he left that for you. He said he wanted to be able to talk to you when you get into your new house.
Oh. Well, I don't think it's gonna work at my new place.
Oh, yeah, he said it has a range of over 2 miles.
Yeah, well, Reba, we're not gonna be moving around here. We're moving to Las Vegas.
Hey, Dad. It's me. Just wanted to tell you I love you.
Copy that, little buddy. Brock, get back in here. We need to talk about this.
What is it, Reba?
You can't move to Las Vegas.
Sure I can. It's one of the fastest growing cities in America, and they need dentists. Young, ambitious dentists.
You're not even 2 out of 3 of those things. And what about Jake?
Oh, to tell you the truth, I think Jake could be better off without me.
That's not true. Jake still needs a father.
Does he? You know, this whole IRS thing has made me realize it's just one more time that I've hurt the people I care about. I mean, face it, Reba, I'm like a tornado. Made a mess of my life and everyone else's life I'm close to.
I can't believe you're even considering this.
Yeah? Well, I am.
So you're tearing this family apart over money. Brock, you're making a huge mistake.
You know what? You may be right. But fortunately, making mistakes seems to be the only thing that I've been good at lately.
Yeah, that and being a butt. Stupid.
Uh-oh. You're muttering. Someone did something dumb.
Only your dad could take a wonderful gesture like moving Barbara Jean away from me and wreck it. He wants to move to Las Vegas.
What?
Yeah. He wants to move far away because he's on this kick about all the bad stuff he's done and how he's ruined everybody else's lives.
Well, Mom, that is so not true. Did you tell him how great he is? Did you remind him of all the good stuff that he's done?
I don't think I'm the best person for that job.
Mom, Vegas? We have to do something. I don't want Dad moving to Utah.
Cheyenne, Las Vegas is in Nevada.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said Los Angeles.
Barbara Jean, just take a look at the property.
Van, it's a waste of time. Reba is never gonna let this happen. She's a stopper, remember?
Van, stop trying to sell him a house.
What? Why?
Because I'm going to talk Brock into staying.
Bingo! Nice call, Babby J. I knew you weren't gonna let this happen. Oh, Reba, I wish I knew the words to Reunited by Peaches and Herb.
I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it for Jake.
Right, for Jake. Yeah, it's best that we leave our bond unspoken. We'll just share a look.
Barbara Jean, she's serious. Dad wants you guys to move to Vegas.
What?
Yeah, the one in Nevada.
Mr. H can't move to Vegas. I'm not licensed to sell houses in Vegas.
Yeah, and I can't live in Vegas. I'm not allowed within 500 feet of Wayne Newton.
Okay. All right, everybody just calm down. Why don't we make a list of all the stuff that Brock is good at, then I'll take it over there and use that to talk him into staying.
Okay.
For Jake.
Right. For Jake. Okay.
You're creeping me out.
Okay, yeah, I'm creeping you out. Okay.
Okay, good things about Brock.
Oh,
Go.
I've got plenty of good things to say about Brock.
You don't get to talk. He's not moving away from you. Cheyenne.
Pass.
Pass.
Well, come back to me. I'm not good at doing this under pressure.
Van.
Pass.
Everybody can't pass. You get to pass. Van.
All right, look, I like Mr. H a lot, so let's quickly review.
Okay.
We got affair, we got a divorce, we got midlife crisis, separation from the new wife, line to the IRS, financial ruin, cheats at golf. He's always in the bathroom when the dinner check comes. Oddly tan.
Oh, all right, all right. That's it. I'll just do something on my own.
He's a caring and attentive lover.
Meeting's over. Hey, Brock.
Hey.
What are you doing?
I was just getting in one last tan on my Tan Blaster 2000 before I send it back. I don't want to stand out in the desert.
Really? Are there a lot of orange people in Las Vegas?
Yes?
Well, look, Brock, I was telling the kids about what you said about the tornado and ruining people's lives, and man, you should have heard them singing your praises.
Really?
Yeah.
What'd they say?
Oh, well, what happened is they were all yelling about all the great stuff you do and talking at the same time. Man, it was like a love fest. I was looking at the calendar saying, what is this, Brock Day?
Really? What did Cheyenne say?
Why do you push?
They couldn't think of anything, could they?
No. But they tried. You should have seen how hard they tried. Didn't that show you how much they care?
Look, I know they do. I know they do. I just don't want to hurt anyone anymore, and that's why I'm leaving.
That's not called leaving, Brock. That's called running away. And that's what you do every time things get tough.
What are you talking about?
What am I talking about? I'm talking about when things got tough between you and me, you ran to Barbara Jean. And when things got tough between you and Barbara Jean, you ran to the golf course. And when things are getting tough around here, you're running off to Las Vegas.
I'm just trying to do what I think is best for everyone.
Breaking up a family is not good for anybody, Brock. We did that once before. Let's not do that again.
Are we still a family, Reba?
As crazy as it sounds, yes. With everything we've got going against us, Brock, it shouldn't work, but it does. And that's why I'm able to tell you this. You got a white patch on the back of your neck.
Mrs. H, I hope you're H-A-P-P-Y.
Actually, I'm C-R-A-B-B-Y.
Oh! I just talked to Mr. H, and thanks to little Miss Susie Do-Right, that's you, I lost 2 commissions. The one that I would have gotten from selling their house, and the one that I would have gotten from selling them a new one. 3, actually, because when I heard about it, I was with another client, I lost my temper and took it out on them. Excuse me, Mr. Montgomery, what's a bonus room? It's a bonus, be happy!
So they're not moving to Las Vegas?
That's right. Miss Susie, 2 and 2 makes 4. They're not going anywhere. Mr. H is gonna come up with the money somehow to pay off the IRS. That does not involve me getting a commission. You know what? We should put up a billboard of you holding a gun that says, "Nobody move!"
So they're not moving out of state. Yet Barbara Jean is still gonna be my neighbor.
So, how does that make you feel, Mrs. H?
Pass.
Well, anyway, I think there's something wrong with Mr. H. I think he's sick, because he's got a giant red patch on the back of his neck. Good morning, Mrs. H. Ready to go to the office?
The office isn't even open yet, Van.
The early bird gets the worm, Mrs. H. That's why I like to go to the office to watch that. Sometimes the worm breaks in half. It's so gross. But it's really cool.
Hey, honey, can I have some money before you go?
For what?
Well, I just have to get a few things.
These things. They wouldn't happen to have high heels, would they?
No, not all of them.
Uh-huh.
So can I have some money?
Oh, God, it's so hard being generous. I just take it all.
Thanks.
Just make sure you write everything down in your expense journal. See you at the office, Mrs. H.
Hey, honey.
Expense journal?
Oh, yeah, that's a system that Van uses to control our money. He enters all of our expenses in the computer and then prints out these little pie charts that he's supposed to go over. But usually, when he sees the pie charts, he decides that he wants pie, so he never does.
And you're okay with that?
Yeah, Van loves pie.
Not that. Him controlling all the money.
Mom, Dad controlled the money when you guys were married.
Yes, and having gone through what I just went through with your dad, I can think of 75,000 reasons that was dumb.
Mom, I really don't think Van is like Dad.
There was a time I used to think Dad wasn't like Dad, but surprise!
Look, I've thought about talking to him, but, you know, money is just one of those issues in our marriage that's just better left not talked about.
Okay, Cheyenne, listen to me. Money is not one of the issues in a marriage. It is the issue in a marriage. It is the issue underneath all the other issues. Honey, a marriage has to have full and honest disclosures.
Mom, my marriage has full and honest disclosure. And besides, I can always lie on my expense journal.
My roots are planted in the past, though my life is changing fast. Who I am is who I wanna be. A single mom who works too hard, who loves her kids and never stops, with gentle hands and the heart of a fighter. I'm a survivor.
Okay, the termite company said we can tent the Hillman house on Wednesday.
Great. Although, you know what has always bugged me about tenting a house, Mrs. H?
What's that?
What if termites love to go camping? Wouldn't it be ironic if they saw a tent going up and they thought they were on this really cool camping trip, and the next thing they know, they're dead? Did you ever wonder about that?
Yeah, Van, I think everybody wonders about that. So, did you write that down in your expense journal?
What?
That decaf latte with a double shot of vanilla. You do write that down in your expense journal, don't you?
Me? No. That's just for Cheyenne. Here's another thing I always wonder about, Mrs. H. What if lobsters love jacuzzis? And just before we drop them to a pot of boiling hot water, they think we're the nicest people in the world. You know what that would be? That would be ironic.
Let's get back to Cheyenne for a second. Don't you worry that your financial system might make Cheyenne feel like a little less than an equal partner?
What? Why would it?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe because you don't have to keep an expense journal and she does, and she has to ask for money?
Well, gee, I hadn't thought about that.
Well, something to think about now.
Well, yeah, I guess maybe it is.
Yeah, you know when you're not so busy thinking how ironic it would be if mosquitoes like those big blue bug lights that kill them.
Huh?
You know, those big blue bug lights that we put outside in the summer? What if bugs liked them? You know, hey guys, party's over here, and then zap!
You lost me.
Oh, you know, like the lobsters.
We keep big blue bug lights out in the summertime to keep the lobsters away?
No, the thing before with the happy dead termites that camp, you know.
Look, Mrs. H, I don't mind if you have a few beers at lunch, but I wouldn't talk to anybody else this afternoon if I were you.
Hey, where have you guys been?
Just hanging out.
Jake had detention.
You said you wouldn't tell.
Yeah, Jake, I say a lot of things. Yesterday I told the DMV I weighed 105. Grow up.
So what'd you do?
He had a soda at school. They're banned. I mean, it's the same as if he brought a tomahawk or photographs of buxom women.
So how did you get a soda if they were banned from school?
Kids sell them from their backpacks.
Pushers. On the street, they call them pop daddies.
Thank you, Barbara Jean. I can take it from here.
Sweet Jake. You used to be such a good boy. We miss that good boy. Oh.
Here's what happened.
No. Here's what happened. Your school banned sodas and you had one. That was wrong. Now, if you've got a problem with the rules, you take it up with your principal, but you do not break the rules. Now, you get upstairs and think about what I just said.
Oh, hey, Mrs. H, good, you're here. Cheyenne! I thought about what you said about the money thing, and I'm gonna make it right.
Oh, glad I could help.
Hey, honey, how was work?
Oh, great. Hey, well, except for one of the realtors got hammered at lunch, but, I covered for her. Anyway, I have something really important to say to you.
Okay, I know what you're gonna say, Van, but they were on sale.
You bought shoes. Good for you.
Okay, well, I put it in the expense journal, put it under asthma medication, but it's in there.
Okay. Forget the stupid expense journal. Look, I realized today that I'm doing things financially that might make you feel that I don't see you as an equal partner.
Oh, honey, that is so sensitive.
It's hard to go through life that way, but I try to carry it with dignity. Anyway, I wanted to show you how much I value you as a wife, a mother, and as a partner. So, I decided to pay you.
What?
Yeah, I worked out in the approximate value of what you do around here, threw in a little extra because you look so hot doing it, and I came up with a weekly paycheck. So here you go.
You figured out my value?
Yeah, you know, stuff like cooking, laundry, daycare, and I didn't include, because that would be illegal.
Why would you think that you could treat me like an employee? Would you think that the money that we make is yours?
See, it's a big old joke, Cheyenne. Man, tell her it's a joke, a big old dumb, dangerous joke.
Well, why would I say that? You're the one who told me to do it.
What? You told him to pay me?
No, I didn't say that. I just told him to think about it.
You told Van to think? Are you insane?
What is that? Is that an insult?
Oh.
All right, fine, Cheyenne. I'll answer your question. Yes, I think the money that I make is mine. And why would I think a crazy thing like that? Oh, that's right, because when the paychecks come, they have my name on them.
You know what? I cannot believe that I said that you were sensitive. You're not sensitive. You're a butt. And as for you, Mom, I can't call you a butt because you're my mom. But if you weren't, I would. Except that I won't be talking to you, so I can't. Oh, and Van, these shoes, they weren't on sale, and I bought 2 pair.
Cheyenne! Van, go after her. Tell her you made a mistake.
Oh, I made a big mistake, all right, when I took your advice. That's the last time I listened to you when you're drunk.
Oh, are you talking to me this morning? If you are, I'd sure like a chance to explain what happened. Hi, this is Reba. Leave a message after the beep.
I'm sorry, I've reached a number that I'm not speaking to.
All you had to do is say no.
Cheyenne, I know you're still mad at me, but flushing the toilet when someone's in the shower isn't just mean, it's dangerous. So you're still not talking to me?
Mom,
Oh, you're talking to me now?
actually, I'm just talking to myself out loud. Cheyenne, if Van tries to talk to you, try and figure out a way to let him know that you're not talking to him. Okay, Cheyenne, I will.
Van? It's Van. Nice choice in the wife, you moron.
Reba? It's Reba. How's it working out living in a nut house? Jake, what are you doing home? Aren't you supposed to be on your way to school?
This morning, I was out on the lawn pulling dandelions, nature's beautiful yellow garbage, when I saw my stepson struggling under the weight of his enormous backpack.
What the heck is in there? It wasn't that heavy when you left. Sodas. I don't believe this.
It's not what you think. Sometimes on the way to school, I run into homeless people who really love soda.
Oh, really?
And sometimes they need change for $1.
Okay, we don't have time to talk about this now. We will have a long conversation when you get home from school. Now get.
Reba, a long conversation is not gonna do anything, but I know what will. Military school.
Barbara Jean, I don't need help raising my kids. I've been doing this a long time, and they've all turned out pretty well.
Oh, if someone's talking to me, I can't hear them, especially if they're a big, gigantic
Wear your diapers, big baby.
So, military school, huh?
Hey, Mr. H, I need some advice.
Advice? You know, Van, I always hoped we'd have a relationship like this. You know, that you'd look at me as a mentor, as a guy that you could come to.
Need it
when...
today, Mr. H.
Okay, so what's the problem?
Well, Shine and I had a big fight about money. And she's mad at me because I said I think the money I make is mine. And I need to know how to explain it to her so she'll understand.
Okay, Van. It's time. I'm going to tell you something now, something that all men get told when the time is right. Huh? It is the deepest secret in the fellowship of the husbands. It's the bedrock truth upon which all else sits. It is in
Today,
fact...
Mr. H. Need it today.
Okay, you ready? It's not your money.
What? Don't say it, Mr. H, because if you say it, then there's no hope.
There is no hope, buddy. Wake up, face it.
But the checks have my name written on them.
The checks have your name on them. You're an idiot. All right, look, I'm sorry for being so direct, but the best way is to absorb it all at once. Hey, you okay?
I'm a little nauseous.
Yeah, well, deep breaths, kid. Deep breaths. And I once felt like you. Yeah, back in the day when I also believed whether I was going to play golf that week was my decision. But I found out I was living a lie. You're in a marriage, Van. There is very little mine and yours in a marriage and a whole lot of ours.
But maybe that can change. Maybe it's just that no one's ever tried yet, huh?
There isn't a guy walking out of divorce court that didn't once believe he was the chosen one. No, man. You have to accept this.
Okay, I can accept it. I can accept that the money I make is also Cheyenne's. I can. But you mean to tell me that I'm not even allowed to say I think it's mine?
And now comes the hope. There is a place where you can do that. It's a wonderful place. Van, I think it's time you learned how to play golf. You're coming with me on Saturday. Yeah. You go golf? Yeah, buddy.
Hello, boys.
Hey.
What's going on?
Oh, we're just shooting the breeze. Hey, listen to this. Van's coming golfing with me on Saturday.
Yeah.
Golf?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think so, honey.
Huh?
You know, until we get the situation with the IRS figured out, we need to be more careful with our money. Don't you think?
Yes, of course.
Look, Mr. H.
Just go.
Oh, hey. If you're talking to me, hello. If you're not talking to me, hello anyway.
I'm no longer mad at you. I discussed this with the people at my meeting, and they suggested that I act with grace and maturity. Oh, shoot! The boss is here. We better look busy. Is that shiny enough for you, Mr. Montgomery, sir? I want to earn my paycheck.
What are you doing?
What does it look like she's doing? She's acting with grace and maturity.
You know, Cheyenne, I don't consider myself your boss, but if I did, your file would have a big red sticker on it that said, bad attitude.
You know what, Van? When we got married, you shouldn't have said I do. You should have said you're hired.
Oh, look at you. You're talking to each other.
I'm going to the golf course.
Okay.
Van, stop. Cheyenne, stop. If you guys aren't in the mood to talk, well, I am. So sit down, shut up, and listen.
She's gonna say it's my fault.
No, she's gonna say it's my fault.
Well, you're both wrong, because it's my fault.
No, Mrs. H, I don't blame you. You were loaded.
Look, guys, I think this thing between Brock and the IRS has got me a little nutty in the money area.
Yeah, well, maybe, but it's okay, because you've been under a lot of stress.
I'm gonna tell you the truth, Cheyenne. Where there's money, there will always be stress. Whether you have money or if you don't. It'll always be a large pain in the rear. That's why couples don't want to talk about it. And that's where the trouble starts. And that's what I was trying to prevent.
Nice job.
Don't avoid this issue, guys. It will never go away.
Look, I'm sorry I said I think the money I make is mine, just because I earn it and the checks have my name written on them.
It's not why I got mad, Van. I got mad because I don't make any money. And every time I worry about that, I tell myself that it's okay because I think of all the other things that I do for the family.
Yes, exactly, and that's what I was trying to show you with the check.
Well, you know what? This is gonna sound stupid, Van, but I felt like you devalued everything I do by putting a value on it.
Oh, honey, no. You are the heart and soul of our family. Money we can always find, but you give us something that we can't find anyplace else. You know what that is? Cheyenneism.
You're just saying that.
No, baby, look, I could give up my job, my stuff, my everything. It can all be replaced, but there's something that can never be replaced. You.
Baby.
Yeah?
Let's try to never fight about money again.
Deal.
Okay.
So, hey,
Yeah.
what do you say we go upstairs and you make a little overtime?
You can't afford me.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Hey, Mom, I was just going to my room to pray.
Well, I already prayed. God wants you to sit. Jake, what were you thinking selling those sodas?
Why am I in trouble for being a good businessman? Do you realize that when I'm a millionaire, this will be the cute story you tell Larry King?
Watch it, Jake. Being dishonest is not funny.
Yeah, well, neither is being poor.
What do you mean by that?
Forget it. What's my punishment?
No, I'm not going to forget it. What are you talking about?
All everybody talks about around here lately is how we don't have any money. Well, I'm trying to do something about that.
So you were doing all that just for the family?
Yes.
Okay, Jake. Here's your punishment. You have to listen to what I'm going to say right now and remember it for the rest of your life.
Couldn't you just whack me?
Listen to me. Honey, you will have opportunities your whole life to break the rules and to cheat to get money.
Sweet.
Jake. Now, if you take advantage of these opportunities, even if you get the money, you will be poor. You may have a lot of money, but you will be poor. Do you understand what I'm saying here?
Yes.
Good. Now, you might have to go tell Barbara Jean what you've been up to, because she's really upset.
I already did.
Jake! Delivery time! I also brought candy because I think we are leaving a lot of money on the table by not offering sweets. Crap! Oh, good, Reba, you're here. You want to see Henry's new trick?
Sure, if it means making his mommy disappear.
Well, it looks like somebody already made your manners disappear. Okay, Henry, what do we do when we see a stranger? Yow! Okay.
Barbara Jean, why didn't you warn me that he was going to do that?
Well, strangers don't get a warning. Strangers only get pain. Ah!
Great. Now, I have bruises on both my shins. Do you know what purple looks like on white skin?
Where are you going?
To get some ice.
The safe word is pickles.
Why do I need a safe word?
Pickles! Good job, sweetie.
Oh, no, Barbara Jean, you've got to leave.
Oh my gosh, is it the supermarket cops? I swear I only ate one frozen burrito.
Why is it that they don't get mad if you eat one grape, but they do if you eat a watermelon?
I'm not.
Okay, look, seriously, Barbara Jean, you got to get out of here because we have a surprise for Mom, and I don't want you to ruin it.
Well, I'm not gonna ruin it. Why would you think I would ruin it? What is it? Can I tell her?
No, Barbara Jean. Look, if you love Mom, you're going to let her have this moment without you.
Well, when you put it that way.
Oh, thank
you. know, I'm torn, you know?
what-
On the one hand, sure, I love your mother, but what does that mean if I'm not here for her in every big moment of her life?
Oh, well, stay.
Reba, they got you a big surprise. They bought you a car. I'm just guessing.
You know what? You sit down and you shut up.
Okay.
You know, Mom, the weirdest thing, you know who I was thinking about the other day? Was that Dr. Morgan?
Oh, really?
Well, Cheyenne, I mean, Why would I have to leave? You know, just because you want to talk about Dr. Morgan. I'm so over him. I'm over his warm smile, his kind eyes, his firm, tight buttocks.
Because, Barbara Jean, Dr. Morgan and Mrs. H had that intense middle-aged love affair. Oh. Just saying it makes my skin crawl.
So, you ever think about him?
Yes, I have a few fond memories.
Man, flick the porch lights.
What are you guys up to?
I know. Dr. Morgan is outside. You've come back for me!
Barbara Jean. Huh? I'm here to see Reba.
Oh, of course, yeah. Just. Oh, you smell terrific.
Hello, Reba.
Hello, stranger.
Stranger, yeah!
My roots are planted in the past, though my life is changing fast. Who I am is who I wanna be. A single mom who works too hard, who loves her kids and never stops, with gentle hands and the heart of a fighter. I'm a survivor.
Sorry about that. I forgot we had an attacked child.
Does it hurt? Do you want me to kiss it and make it better?
Barbara Jean, we've talked about this. You are still married to Brock, aren't you?
I guess. Come on, Henry, let's go home and see Daddy. Same old Daddy who does the same old thing every same old day.
So,
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 do you guys mind giving us a little privacy?
Oh, okay, sure. Privacy. Come on, man, let's go.
I am not leaving him alone with her. Last thing we need in this house is another baby.
Gross, that is my mom. Come on, let's go.
All right. Hey, just because you're a doctor doesn't mean you get to play doctor.
Van, come on.
So that's what's considered good looking? Mm-hmm. Wait till I'm 60.
So you're probably wondering why I haven't called the last couple of months.
Well, I was trying to stay positive. I assumed you were dead.
I know I told you I'd only be in Boston for a month or two, but it turned into a job offer, and some things came up, and well, I struggled with.
Your phone?
Yes, it's way too fancy. It takes pictures, but I don't know how to make phone calls. Although I'm pretty sure that it accepts calls.
Stop trying to get out of trouble by pointing out that I was equally at fault.
There's no excuse. I should have called, and I'm sorry. And believe it or not, I really missed you.
I missed you too.
So I moved back to town, and I was thinking maybe we could start seeing each other again.
Oh, gee, I don't know. You gotta realize how hard it was on me not hearing from you.
I know.
And I don't know if I should give you another chance. I mean, I don't know if I want to risk getting hurt again. But on the other hand, you do smell awfully good.
And you're just smelling me from a distance.
Well, I'm just giving myself a running start.
Well, that was great. Sorry I had to beat you guys so bad.
Well, guys versus girls wasn't exactly fair.
Well, I didn't say it was fair. I said it was great. Next time it'll be you and me against Cheyenne and Van.
Then I'm not going.
Well, good. Then we won't have to use the bumpers.
Just gonna put the bow and stuff in the closet.
I'll give you a hand. So, people think you're good looking.
Are you hitting on me?
Not me, man. I said people. People. I said people.
Oh, you two seem to be getting along.
I know. Feel like a high school girl trapped in a college girl's body.
Oh, Mom, I am so glad that you're happy. I mean, seriously, for years you have been moping around this house, depressing everyone. Seriously, Van and I were thinking about moving out at one point.
Sorry, dear. I didn't know it was so hard on you.
Yeah, well, you were kind of wrapped up in yourself there. Oh, but Mom, seriously, hold on to this one. I don't want my little cloud of doom coming back again.
So you guys were thinking about moving out?
No, not anymore now that you're happy. She likes you.
I'm gonna take her to the prom.
You know, I really like Cheyenne and Van, but he's a little obsessed with looks.
Oh, they're all vain at that age.
No, he's obsessed with my looks.
He gets that from me. Plus, Van's a little worried. But if a good-looking guy like you could be divorced, he better behave himself.
Oh, well, that's not technically the case.
Are you telling me you're not handsome?
No, I'm handsome. I meant the divorced part.
How's that again?
I mean that my soon-to-be ex-wife just hasn't signed the papers yet. So technically, we're not divorced. You knew that.
No, I'm pretty sure I would have remembered that. So legally, you're still married?
Well, yeah, but it's not like there's some divorce police that are gonna come arrest me. Is there?
This isn't funny. I'm dating a married man.
No, you're looking at this all wrong. You're dating a very soon-to-be divorced man.
But you're still married. Do you know what that makes me? Barbara Jean. I don't want to be Barbara Jean. Barbara Jean doesn't even want to be Barbara Jean.
I'm sorry, Reba. I wasn't trying to hide anything. I can't believe we haven't had this conversation.
I'm Barbara Jean. I am Barbara Jean. Am I turning into tall, blonde, and crazy?
I had no idea this was going to affect you this way. And you know what? I'm going to take care of it. It's time I got it over with anyway.
Oh, no. I don't want to be the reason your marriage is breaking up.
Wait, first of all, you're not the reason my marriage is breaking up. And secondly, you'll never be Barbara Jean. I can't say why, but remember, I was her therapist.
You're not Barbara Jean. You are Reba. You're different. You are Reba.
Jeez, Mom, stop talking to yourself. You're sounding like Barbara Jean.
Hey, what you doing?
Whatever I'm doing, you can't relate to because I'm nothing like you. So before you jump to conclusions and start asking what I'm doing, you better look in the mirror because you won't see me. I can tell you that.
Uh-oh. Trouble with Dr. Hunky?
No. And if there was any trouble, I don't want to talk to you about it.
Did you fight? Were you needy? Was there uncomfortable adult touching?
Barbara Jean, you make me want to burn my ears.
Reba, don't let him get away. I really want this to work out for you. Man, I know you've forgiven me, but I've never really gotten over my part in the destruction of your marriage.
Oh, I remember your part. You played Godzilla. I'll get it.
It's a bad feeling being the other woman, Reba. Bad, bad feeling.
Can I help you?
Are you Reba Hart?
Yeah.
I'm Cheryl Morgan, Jack Morgan's wife.
Oh, you mean ex-wife.
I mean, wife.
A bad, bad feeling.
Jack's wife. I don't know what to say.
Never been on this side before, huh, Reba? Cheryl, please come in. Come on.
Why did you invite her in? This is going to be terribly awkward.
But we don't know that. Let's just hear what the woman has to say.
I still love Jack.
Sorry.
Look, Cheryl, I just want you to know that I had no idea your divorce wasn't final when I started going out with Jack.
Hey, you don't have to justify yourself to her. He's a good-looking man, so he's fair game.
I think we can still work it out, which is why I want you to stop seeing it.
Well, that's not gonna happen.
Barbara Jean, just stop it. I want this to be over with.
Well, it's not up to her. It's up to Brock. I mean, Jack.
She's not speaking for me.
No, I'm speaking for all the other women.
There are more?
Oh, no, not with Jack. I mean figuratively. You know, women who do what we do.
Cheryl, I'm sorry, but I won't see Jack again.
What? Are you out of your mind?
If you keep talking, nobody's gonna see you again.
You know, this wasn't easy for me, Reba. And I hope I don't have to do it again.
Alrighty then. Thanks for dropping by.
Thanks for dropping by.
Well, I told you it was gonna be awkward.
Well, of course it's awkward. It's adultery. Now, all right, Reba, this is not too late to save this, all right? Now, we just call Jack, tell him to come on over here, burst into tears, tell him that she threatened you, and then let him get to second base.
Stop it. I'm not gonna see Jack again.
You were serious?
Oh, absolutely. That was humiliating. I feel horrible. I feel dirty.
That'll pass.
She still loves him.
Well, he doesn't love her.
You don't know that. And I don't think I could be with him if I thought I was gonna hurt somebody the way I was hurt.
Do you love him?
I don't know.
Do you?
Well, I could.
Well, then you need to get off your little pompous high horse and get out there and fight for him.
Oh, of course, you would think that.
Yeah, I do. Reba, this is your one chance for happiness. Just like I was Brock's one chance for happiness.
Do you even know who you're talking to?
Yeah, I do. And as your best friend, I gotta tell you something. Your marriage to Brock was over. Just like theirs is over. Don't lose Jack just because you won't fight for him. Reba, you deserve this.
I need some air.
Reba and a married man? Honest to God, you think you know somebody.
Hey, Brock, you got a minute?
Sure, what can I do you for?
I need to talk to you about your affair.
Oh, good. I was worried we were finally going to talk about something else.
I just found out that Jack's divorce is not quite as final as I thought it was. No reaction?
Not until I figure out which one you're looking for.
I don't know what to do. He says his marriage is over, but his wife says she still loves him.
Well, how do you know that?
She dropped by.
Well, could have been worse. Barbara Jean could have been there.
Okay, look, what I need to know is, if she's willing to fight for him, does their marriage have a chance?
See, Reba, there's no way I can know that. I mean, every situation is different.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah.
Well, Brock, let me ask you this. Would it made a difference if I'd been willing to fight for you?
I don't know.
Crap. Okay.
Reba, I am so sorry. I just talked to Cheryl, and I can only imagine how uncomfortable that was.
Look, Jack, I just need to ask you one question. Do you have any feelings left for her? Because if you do, and if you guys tried to
No.
work- Are you sure?
I'm sure now.
What the heck did that mean?
Apparently it meant stop me before I kiss you.
No. You're sure now? You became sure after you met me?
Well, I meant it as a good thing.
I told you I didn't want to be the reason your marriage broke up.
You're not.
But you said it was my fault.
Yes. No, you keep saying that.
Then what are you saying?
Nothing. You know, I regret ever talking. Okay, can we just start this over? Wasn't quite the same, was it?
No. Look, I care for you. I really do. But I had the same thing done to me by the person listening on the other side of that counter, and I just can't do it to someone else.
It's not the same thing.
Well, it sure feels like it.
Is there anything I can say? Because I'll say it. I don't want to lose you.
Say you're single.
I will be.
Call me then.
I'll talk to you later. Take care, Barbara Jean.
Kisses! I'm sorry, Reba. I saw him drive over and I just had to see what was going on.
Oh, that's okay. I probably would have done the same thing. Oh, Lord. Okay, Cheyenne, you can come out too.
God, it was getting hot in there. You okay, Ma?
I guess so. You know, there's that old saying that goes, it's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all.
Amen.
Hey, Barbara Jean. You got your message?
Thanks for coming.
Well, you said it was important.
It is. I don't think you should just walk away from Reba. I think you should fight for her. She might be your one chance for happiness.
I don't think I can do that.
Why not?
Because she's not the one I want. You are.
Me?
Come on, you've known it all along. The whole time I was kissing Reba, I was really kissing you.
Damn. Why must all the men in Reba's life desire me?
Isn't it obvious? You're better than she is.
I hate myself for it every day.
Kiss me, Barbara Jean.
I can't.
Okay.
Where are you going? Get back here.
Barbara Jean, what are you doing?
These pillows just aren't as fluffy as they used to be. It's like the same old person sitting on them the same old way every same old day.
Stepped forward, wrapping an arm around his wife. I am sorry, honey. Reba just got me all worked up. That is. Reba took a deep breath, preparing to do something she hated doing, admitting she was wrong. Look, Barbara Jean, the truth is I think I went down to the gym almost hoping that I would find you doing something wrong. You know, anything. So I could feel superior to you and your skinny butt. So, I am sorry. Barbara Jean looked at her, her eyes welling with unexpected tears. Sorry? Yeah, Reba nodded. Suddenly, a massive, radiant smile broke across Barbara Jean's face. She clasped her hands together, practically bouncing with joy. This is great. For the first time since we have known each other, you want to be me. Reba groaned inwardly. I do not want to be you. I know, Barbara Jean squealed, ignoring Reba's protest. It is even better. You want to look like me. She spun around and skipped toward the kitchen, her energy fully restored. Hey, where are you going? Brock called after her. Just going to go grab something to eat, Barbara Jean yelled back merrily. I will see you next year. Reba and Brock stood alone in the living room, shaking their heads in mutual exhaustion. Meanwhile, upstairs, the concept of being new pretty was causing ripples in another relationship. Van sat on the edge of the bed in his room, staring blankly at the television. He was holding a video game controller, his mind completely detached from the pixelated action on the screen. Hey, buddy, what are we watching? A voice asked from the doorway. Van sighed. No, we are not. Want a rock, paper, scissor for it? Let us go. He held up his fist, waiting. You are going to pick scissors, are not you? Get out, Van yelled, throwing a pillow at the door. A moment later, Cheyenne walked into the room. Her head was bowed, and she looked incredibly nervous. Hey, honey. Hey, baby, Van replied, not taking his eyes off the screen. I need to talk to you. Oh, honey, I just got the television, Van complained lazily. Cheyenne walked over and stood directly in front of the screen, forcing him to look at her. Well, I started thinking that maybe you do not think of me as new pretty because I do not do enough to keep your interest. Van paused the game, his brow furrowing in confusion. No, honey, you were way hot. Guilty. But anyway, Cheyenne continued, her voice trembling slightly, I thought that maybe I should, change my look every now and then just to keep things fresh. So, I bought a wig. She reached behind her back and pulled out a bright, synthetic blonde wig. It was hideous, a tangled mess of artificial fibers that looked like it belonged on a cheap mannequin. She placed it awkwardly on her head, looking at Van with wide, hopeful eyes. Van stared at her for a long, silent moment. The wig sat crookedly, the bright yellow clashing violently with her skin tone. She looked completely ridiculous, but Van did not laugh. He set the controller down on the bed and stood up slowly. He walked over to her, reaching out gently to remove the terrible wig. He tossed it carelessly onto a nearby chair, then took both of her hands in his. Cheyenne, put that down, Van said softly, his voice lower and more serious than usual. Listen to me. Cheyenne looked up at him, tears swimming in her eyes. I think it is a good thing that when I look at you, I do not see the beautiful girl with the killer body. Van began, looking deep into her eyes. Cheyenne's face fell. That was not exactly what she wanted to hear. I see my wife, Van continued, his voice filled with an unexpected, profound sincerity. And I am attracted to her whether she is all dressed up, ready to go out or just sitting on the couch wearing those washed-up flannel pajamas. Cheyenne blinked, the tears stopping. Really? Yeah? Van smiled, bringing her hands up to kiss her knuckles. You are beautiful to me because of who you are. A soft, genuine smile spread across Cheyenne's face. The insecurity that had been gnawing at her all day completely vanished, replaced by a deep, comforting warmth. Ah, I feel kind of stupid. Van pulled her into a tight embrace, burying his face in her real, beautiful hair. That is also who you are, and I love it. Come on, you. He took her hand and gently pulled her toward the door. Where are we going? Cheyenne asked, feeling lighter than air. Oh, we are going upstairs, Van said, a mischievous twinkle returning to his eye. Cheyenne stopped, raising an eyebrow. Hold on. I thought you did not want me to leave you alone. Van pulled her close again, kissing her forehead tenderly. Sometimes I want to feel new pretty. As they walked out of the room together, the house finally settled into a peaceful quiet. The day had been filled with jealousy, miscommunications, and terrifying gym equipment. But as the evening approached, the chaotic family had returned to its natural state. They were messy, loud, and entirely imperfect. But underneath it all, binding them together stronger than any muscle, was a deep, unshakable love. And no amount of power smoothies or personal trainers could ever change that. The morning sun filtered through the sheer curtains of the kitchen window, casting a warm, golden glow over the remnants of what used to be a fully stocked pantry. The atmosphere in the room, however, was far from sunny. It was heavy with the solemn realization of a culinary crisis. The family stood gathered around the kitchen island, staring into the gaping void of the wooden cabinets. "That woman is out of control," someone whispered, the voice carrying a mixture of awe and sheer terror. "She is like a locust. She has eaten everything in the house." Another voice chimed in, pointing a trembling finger toward the dining table. "She has eaten everything in Mr. H's house. Look, even the salt and pepper shakers are empty." The realization settled over them like a thick blanket. The refrigerator, usually a beacon of sustenance, echoed with emptiness. The silence was broken by a desperate plea. "Why do not you just tell her she has eaten too much?" "You tell her," came the immediate defensive reply. "No, you tell her. Rock, paper, scissors." Ben, the youngest and often the most pragmatic, sighed deeply. The stakes of this game were incredibly high. Confronting the ravenous guest was a task no one wanted. He looked across the counter. "Ben, you know you are going to lose." "Not this time," Ben said, his eyes narrowing with sudden, uncharacteristic determination. He held his fist out, ready for the ritual of combat. 1, 2, 3. Hands flashed in the air. The result was instantaneous. "Dang it!" Ben cried out, his shoulders slumping in defeat as he stared at his outstretched fingers. "How do you always beat me?" "Because you always pick scissors." Ben frowned, defending his unwavering strategy. "Of course I do. It is my system." "So you will tell her?" Ben's bravery evaporated instantly. "Yeah, fine. No, I do not want to." He looked around the room, his eyes pleading for salvation. "You tell her. Come on, you tell her. Please, please, please." "No, Ben, why should I tell her?" "Because girls can say that kind of stuff without having to come across like all they care about are looks." Ben reasoned, his adolescent logic working in overdrive. He paused, looking up, hoping to sweeten the deal with a compliment. "By the way, you have been looking hot lately." A soft, exasperated chuckle filled the room. "Oh, you." Reba, the matriarch of the household, stepped forward. She possessed the gentle hands and the heart of a fighter, a single mother who worked entirely too hard but loved her family with an unending fierce devotion. She had weathered many storms in this kitchen, and an empty pantry was just another Tuesday. She placed a comforting hand on the counter. "Look, sweetie, why do not I tell her?" Reba offered, her voice a calm anchor in the sea of morning panic. "Thank you," came the collective sigh of relief. Suddenly, the front door burst open with a flurry of energy. "Hey, hey, hey, guess who Luigi gave the free pizza to?" It was a cheerful announcement, oblivious to the tense dietary discussions that had just taken place. "Luigi does not have to roll it out of the bed every morning," Reba muttered under her breath, shaking her head. She turned to address the new arrival. "You know, Mom, we really do not need another pizza. I mean, it is really just into the kitchen." "What are you talking about? I am very healthy." Before the older woman could reach for the pizza, Reba intervened. "All right, that is it, Mrs. H. Drop it, Mrs. H. Drop it, drop it, drop it. Reba moved forward, her tone softening with genuine concern. Drop it, Mrs. H. I cannot stand to see you do this to yourself. It is like you are trying to eat yourself to death. Why? What happened to you? What is different? Just as the emotional weight of the intervention was settling over the kitchen, the front door burst open once more. The energy in the room shifted entirely, the air practically crackling with a new, vibrant presence. You who? I am here, and I am thin. The voice belonged to Barbara Jean, but the woman standing in the doorway was a revelation. She was transformed, radiant, her posture completely different. The aura of the room was immediately sucked toward her. Someone muttered under their breath, the shock palpable. Yeah, thin is a stick and dumb is one. Another voice whispered in absolute astonishment, eyes wide. Yikes, what is eating Cooper grape? Look at that, they look like the number 10. Reba blinked, shaking her head as if trying to clear a sudden fog. Oh, thank God it was just a nightmare. But the vision in the doorway did not fade. Barbara Jean stepped further into the light, beaming. You who? I am here, and I am thin. Reba sighed deeply, a dramatic hand rising to her forehead. And the nightmare continues. Inside her mind, a familiar melody of resilience played, a reminder of her core identity amidst the chaos. My roots are planted in the past, though my life is changing fast. Who I am is who I want to be. A single mom who works too hard, who loves her kids and never stops. With gentle hands and the heart of a fighter, I am a survivor. The silence that followed Barbara Jean's entrance was finally broken by a simple, oblivious request from one of the kids. Mom, make us some pancakes. Reba snapped back to reality, her resolve hardening. No, I am making everyone a power smoothie. And this afternoon, I am taking a power walk. The kids exchanged bewildered glances. Power walk? One of them questioned incredulously. Oh, forget your power cane. Van, that is not nice, Cheyenne scolded gently. Mom does aerobics. Van shook his head, a look of grim prophecy on his face. She could shatter her hip. Reba glared at them both, her voice calm but carrying the weight of ultimate authority. And yet, in the blink of an eye, I can make you both homeless. Barbara Jean, entirely unaffected by the family banter, twirled lightly. Hey, everybody. I am here and I am. Oh, shut up and have a donut, someone grumbled from the corner. Barbara Jean ignored the comment, her bright eyes locking onto Reba and the blender on the counter. Oh, Reba, you are not still trying to lose weight by drinking those power smoothies. Are you? Jordan, my trainer, says that those are loaded with hidden carbs. Reba gripped the edge of the counter, practicing immense patience. Barbara Jean, I am all for adopting a healthy new lifestyle, but seriously, there has to be some sort of... She trailed off, noticing the absolute, unwavering fixation of everyone else in the room. They were staring at Barbara Jean as if she were an alien who had just landed in the kitchen. Will you stop staring at her? What? Van asked, finally blinking. We have been staring at her for, the past 2 hours. Cheyenne leaned into Van, a trace of insecurity in her voice. Well, she is pretty. Barbara Jean touched her hair, a picture of false modesty. I am pretty. Cheyenne nodded eagerly. Well, of course you are. You have always been pretty. But she is new pretty. Reba rolled her eyes, a sharp retort ready. Oh, Van. That is such a funny story you can tell to your next wife. Barbara Jean looked at Van, seeking validation. Van, you really think that I am new pretty? Van, possessing all the tact of a golden retriever, nodded enthusiastically. Oh yeah, you are like a bleached-out Halle Berry. Barbara Jean gasped in pure delight. Thank you. You are welcome, Van replied, entirely proud of himself. I am going to go make some calls. He practically skipped out of the room, leaving a slightly devastated Cheyenne in his wake. Brock, who had been silently observing from the living room archway, finally stepped forward. His expression was a complex mixture of awe, confusion, and deep-seated anxiety. So, Barbara Jean. Yeah? She replied, turning her newly sculpted profile toward him. Brock cleared his throat, trying to sound casual. Is it true that when you lose a bunch of weight, you want to do, bounce? Ka bounce. The entire kitchen groaned. Van! Cheyenne cried out, though Van had already left the room. She looked down at her own clothes, suddenly feeling incredibly inadequate. Van poked his head back around the corner, sensing his wife's distress. Oh, Cheyenne, do not be upset. You are still hot. You are like a bleached-out Jan Brady. January Jan Brady. Cheyenne's face fell further. She whispered to herself, I am Marcia. Marcia, Marcia, Marcia. Barbara Jean clapped her hands together, bringing the focus back to herself. So, Reba, I got an idea. You should come down to the gym and meet Jordan, my trainer. Seriously, he will change your life. I mean, he is so much more than a personal trainer. He taught me how to work out and eat right. She leaned in, lowering her voice as if sharing a profound secret. We go over the clothes I am going to wear, the movies I am going to see. Reba raised an eyebrow, highly skeptical. Whoa, the movies you are going to see? What has that got to do with you getting in shape? Barbara Jean waved a dismissive hand, laughing lightly. Oh, nothing. We just have the same sense of humor. That Tim Allen just kills us. I mean, whether he is playing a dog or Santa Claus, you just buy it. So, you will come meet Jordan. No, Reba answered flatly. Oh, come on, Reba, Barbara Jean pleaded, her lower lip jutting out in a pout. I want my best girlfriend to meet my best boyfriend. The word hung in the air. Time seemed to stop. Brock's head snapped up. Boyfriend, Reba repeated slowly. Barbara Jean covered her mouth, her eyes widening in feigned innocence. Oh, whoops, that came out wrong. Well, thanks anyway. But I am just going to be here with my smoothie. Reba turned the blender on, the loud whirring providing a convenient excuse to end the conversation. She poured the thick, green mixture into a glass and took a tentative sip. Her face immediately contorted. Delicious, just like fruit gravy. Later that afternoon, the house had quieted down. Brock found Reba in the living room, folding laundry. He looked nervous, pacing back and forth across the carpet like a caged animal. Oh, hey, Barbara Jean, Brock said, practicing a casual greeting to an empty chair before realizing Reba was watching him. He cleared his throat and approached her. Here you are. Listen, how would you like to go out and grab a quick lunch? Just the two of us. Reba looked up, surprised by the sudden invitation. She knew exactly what was happening. Before she could answer, she imagined Barbara Jean's response. Oh, honey, I cannot. I am going to the gym, Reba mimicked perfectly. Brock sighed heavily, dropping the act. Well, cannot you skip it just this once? Come on. I will take you to that romantic French place you like so much. Reba chuckled softly, shaking out a towel. Really? Skip the gym and eat French food? No confondu, brah. Man, she blew me off again. Brock collapsed onto the sofa, running a hand through his hair. All she wants to do is go down to the gym and spend time with Jordan, her trainer. Exactly, Reba said, continuing to fold. Brock looked staring at the floor. Frankly, I like the new butt, but the new attitude not so much. Reba could not help but laugh. Oh, that is really funny coming from the old butt. Brock ignored the jab. Jordan is so great. Jordan is so toned and funny. Well, I got news for you. Nobody is toned and funny. Reba stopped folding and looked at him, recognizing the genuine distress in his voice. Rob, you are overreacting. Oh, really? Brock shot back, his voice rising in panic. Yeah, I think she might be having an affair with this guy. Barbara Jean with her trainer? I mean, sure, he is probably a better man than you are, better looking and younger. But... He stood up suddenly, pointing a finger at Reba. That is it. Reba, I need you to help me out. I want you to go down to the gym and see if there is anything going on. You know, spy on him for me. Reba's eyes widened in horror. No way, you know. Barbara Jean may have a long list of faults, and I have that list if you need a copy. But she is nothing if not faithful. Yeah, right? Brock scoffed bitterly. Up until now. But now that she is thin and hot, she has all kinds of options. Reba walked over and placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. Look, Brock, if it is worrying you that much, be honest with her. Tell her how you feel. Tell her that you just need a hug every now and then. Brock recoiled as if she had suggested he walk on hot coals. Oh, now there is a great idea. See? Why, since my competition is a macho, muscular dude, I should go the other way and appear all weak and whiny. Your solutions are ridiculous. Reba makes me to spy on those. Stupid. He grumbled unintelligibly as he stomped out of the room, leaving Reba alone with the laundry and a growing sense of unease. Later that evening, the kitchen was quiet again. Reba was preparing dinner, staring out the window at the fading sunlight. She picked up a vegetable, contemplating its nutritional value with a sigh. Hard to believe they are supposed to be good for you. Van strolled in, grabbing a glass of water. Hey, Mrs. H, you off for your power walk? Man, I love old people. Power walking, moving along, swinging their arms, like there is a big sale for false teeth. Reba glared at him. No, I am not going for my power walk. This whole physical thing is getting everybody acting wacko. Van leaned against the counter, suddenly looking entirely serious. What do you mean? Well, your dad thinks that the guy who gave Barbara Jean her new body is wanting to take a 4-spin. Reba paused, adjusting her phrasing. He probably does. Van nodded sagely, as if possessing ancient wisdom. What are you talking about? Guys are pigs. They are dogs. They are all animals. They just care about hot women. They are hot dogs. Reba stared at him, trying to follow his bizarre logic. My point is, Van continued, tapping his temple, is that when you got a hot lady, you got to keep your guard up at all times. A small, quiet voice came from the doorway. Cheyenne stood there, looking utterly heartbroken. I used to. Van spun around, his face falling in instant regret. You used to? No, baby, do not take it like that. It is just that I have grown into a mature, stable individual. That is all. Cheyenne crossed her arms, fighting back tears. Well, I do not like it. She turned and marched away. Where have you been? Van called after her desperately. I went to get something to eat, she shouted back, her voice thick with emotion. Van slumped against the counter. The next day, Reba found Ben sitting on the front porch steps, tossing a baseball into his glove. She sat down beside him, staring out at the quiet suburban street. So, Ben, Reba began slowly, you think that Brock might be right about this trainer? Ben caught the ball and held it thoughtfully. Sure, this guy could be hot for Barbara Jean, but since Barbara Jean is not looking to play, there is no problem, and it is obvious Barbara Jean is not looking. Reba looked at her son, surprised by his analytical tone. Why is this obvious? 2 reasons, Ben stated confidently, holding up 2 fingers. Barbara Jean is not good at keeping secrets, and she thinks of you as her best friend. If she were fooling around with this guy, she would be constantly talking about him to you. Heck, she would probably even want you to meet him. The words hit Reba like a physical blow. Her eyes widened. Meet him? Oh! She stood up so quickly she almost tripped over the porch step. Where are you going? Ben asked, looking alarmed. Reba grabbed her purse from the hall table. Go down to the gym with the rest of the wackos. Ben grinned, tossing the ball back into his glove. All right, well, keep those arms a-swinging. The gym was a terrifying temple of chrome, mirrors, and aggressively upbeat electronic music. The air smelled of sanitized rubber and intense effort. Everywhere Reba looked, impossibly beautiful people were lifting heavy objects and running on treadmills without looking even slightly tired. She clutched her purse to her chest like a shield, navigating the maze of equipment with extreme caution. Oh, hey, Reba, you came, a bright voice called out over the din. Barbara Jean was jogging in place on a mat, wearing a matching spandex outfit that highlighted her dramatic transformation. Reba walked over, looking around nervously. Yeah, man, there is a lot of beautiful people around here. She muttered under her breath, a defense mechanism kicking in. You should see them naked in the shower. Suddenly, a mountain of a man stepped out from behind a weight rack. He was incredibly handsome, with broad shoulders, a blinding smile, and hair that looked perfectly styled despite the athletic setting. Hey, he said smoothly. Jordan, Barbara Jean gasped happily. Hey. Jordan smiled down at her. Ready to start, Barbara Jean? Yeah, she nodded eagerly. Jordan took a step back, admiring her completely without reservation. Hey, you look great in that outfit. Barbara Jean blushed deeply, touching her arm. Oh, well, the other woman is getting kind of baggy. Reba watched the exchange, her jaw tight. She mentally noted the compliment, the blush, the easy camaraderie. She thought to herself, can you believe her? She did the impossible. She lost all that weight and kept these fellas. She cleared her throat loudly. Oh, okay, Jordan. Barbara Jean jumped slightly, suddenly remembering her friend was there. Jordan, this is my friend, Reba. Jordan extended a large, calloused hand. Hey, I am Jordan. Reba shook it cautiously, feeling her own hand swallowed whole. I am Reba. Jordan beamed at her. So, you going to join us, Reba? Reba took a quick step backward. Oh, I do not know. I just think that me and my fellows will just watch for a while. Jordan shook his head, his tone gently encouraging but firm. Well, Reba, you are not going to get into shape by just watching. You need to sweat a little. Reba laughed nervously, gesturing to the gleaming machines around her. Yeah, but you guys got to understand, it has been a while since I have been in a gym like this, and I do not think. Hello, there, Jordan interrupted, his attention snapping back to his client. He guided Barbara Jean down to a mat on the floor. Barbara Jean, you really are getting limber. What happened next caused Reba's eyes to widen to the size of saucers. Jordan stood behind Barbara Jean, taking hold of her leg and pulling it backward in a stretch that seemed anatomically impossible and highly intimate. Barbara Jean groaned softly, smiling. Remember when you could not put your leg over my head? Jordan laughed, adjusting his grip. Remember when I did not want to? Reba stumbled over her words, completely scandalized. Is that legal? I mean, necessary? Jordan looked up, not breaking his stride. It is critical to stretch the muscles out before you exercise them. Yeah. Otherwise, you could really hurt something. He tapped Barbara Jean's shoulder gently. Turn over. Barbara Jean flipped onto her back effortlessly. She looked up at Reba, entirely unbothered. Reba, you need to watch this one. This one is my favorite. Jordan knelt beside her, placing his hands flat on the center of her chest and pressing down firmly. All right, now, this gives a good stretch to the back and chest muscles. Really should do this once a day. Barbara Jean sighed happily. Oh, I would do it all day if I could. Reba felt a bead of sweat roll down her neck. The sheer physicality of the interaction was overwhelming. Is this one of these gyms that has the heat on real high? I am sweating. Okay. Jordan finally released the stretch and clapped his hands together. Oh, wow. Time for some weightlifting. Reba let out a massive sigh of relief. Oh, good. That is enough of that stretching. Hello. Okay. She watched as Jordan guided Barbara Jean toward a heavy bench press. Knock this out. Yeah, okay. All right. Reba grabbed her purse, her mission entirely accomplished, though the results were far from what she had hoped. I think I have seen enough. Jordan turned back to her, a bright smile on his face. So, what do you think? You have any interest in getting a personal trainer? Reba shot him a withering look. Only if he takes me out to dinner first. Jordan laughed, a deep, booming sound. Are you sure, Reba? Seriously, this is one of the best relationships I have ever had. The word relationship echoed in Reba's mind like a warning bell. Oh, I think Jordan has his hands full with you. Barbara Jean smiled sweetly. Oh, you are a beginner, Reba. You will start with ... From the shadows of the free weight area emerged a woman who was easily 6 feet tall, with biceps thicker than Reba's thighs and a stern, unsmiling expression. Yeah, barked, stepping forward. Jordan pointed toward Reba. This is Reba. She seems a little tense. I would spend some extra time on the stretching. Cracked her knuckles loudly. Hey, get down there. Reba looked at the floor, then at then at the door. Survival instinct took over. An hour later, Reba burst through her front door, out of breath and thoroughly traumatized. Brock was waiting in the living room, practically vibrating with nervous energy. So, did you see him? Brock demanded instantly. What is he like? Is he little? Could I take him? Reba leaned against the doorframe, trying to catch her breath. He is big, but he is not as big as . Brock frowned, confused. So, what do you think? Is there something going on there? Reba walked into the living room, looking at Brock with a mixture of pity and exhaustion. Look, Brock. I was hoping that I could go down to the gym and check things out and come back and tell you that there is nothing to worry about. But Brock's face fell. He looked completely defeated. That is it. Reba raised a hand to stop him. Reba, come on. Okay. I do not know if they are having an affair or not, but if they keep working out like that, they might be having a baby. Brock gripped the back of the sofa, his knuckles turning white. Man, I knew there was something going on. At that exact moment, the front door opened, and Barbara Jean breezed in, glowing with post-workout endorphins. Hey, everybody. I am here and I am saying, well, oh hi, honey. Brock spun around, his face flushed with anger. Do not you hi honey me. Barbara Jean stopped in her tracks, bewildered. What are you talking about? Brock crossed his arms over his chest, adopting a stance of righteous indignation. Oh man, did you honestly think that I would not find out about you and Jordan? Barbara Jean looked genuinely confused. What? We were working out. It was perfectly innocent. Brock gestured wildly toward Reba. Reba, tell him what you saw. Reba immediately backed toward the kitchen, raising her hands in surrender. I do not want to get involved. She said you are having an affair, Brock stated flatly. Barbara Jean gasped, a hand flying to her chest. Any more than I already am. She took a deep breath, her eyes blazing. Okay, Jordan and I are not having an affair. He is gay. The entire room fell into absolute silence. The revelation hung in the air, slowly deflating the balloon of tension that had built up over the past 24 hours. Brock blinked, his anger suddenly evaporating into profound confusion. What? Reba, do you honestly think I would let a straight man grab my breasts? Brock looked at Reba, horrified. Excuse me, he grabbed your breasts. Reba threw her hands up defensively. He is gay. He was not touching them. He was arranging them. Carry on with your lives. She turned to flee, but Barbara Jean's voice stopped her cold. No, Reba. Everything is not fine. Barbara Jean crossed the room, standing face to face with her friend. Her voice was trembling, but it was filled with genuine hurt rather than anger. I had no idea you were so threatened by the new me. The slim waist, the toned legs, the phallus. Brock interjected, a hint of panic returning. The phallus. The girls, Reba corrected quickly, trying to defuse the situation. Oh, the puppies. Reba straightened her spine, looking Barbara Jean directly in the eye. I am not threatened by you. Barbara Jean tilted her head, highly skeptical. Really? Yeah, Reba insisted. Then why did you go down to the gym? Barbara Jean challenged. What, were you spying on me? Reba opened her mouth to deny it, but the lie died in her throat. She looked at the floor, feeling a sudden wave of guilt. No. Okay. Yes. I went down to the gym because I thought there was something going on between you and Jordan. Barbara Jean's voice cracked slightly. Why would you think that? Reba sighed heavily, all the fight draining out of her. Because you have changed. I have not, Barbara Jean protested vehemently. Yes, you have, Reba said softly, stepping closer. Ever since you lost all that weight, you are pushy and obnoxious, and you always want to be the center of attention. From the kitchen doorway, a quiet voice muttered, Hello? I have always been that way. Brock nodded slowly, conceding the point. She kind of got a point there. Yeah, well, something has changed, Barbara Jean, Reba concluded, looking at her friend with a sad, weary expression. Barbara Jean looked around the room, tears welling in her eyes. Yeah, the way you guys look at me, I am still the same Barbara Jean I always was. I am just less winded. The vulnerability in her voice was heartbreaking. It stripped away all the defenses, all the jokes, and laid bare a simple truth. She just wanted to be loved, no matter what size she was. Reba felt a lump form in her throat. She looked at Brock, who was staring at the floor, looking thoroughly ashamed. I know she might be right, Brock murmured softly. Could be us. He walked over to Barbara Jean and took her hands. I am sorry, honey. Reba just got me all worked up. That is. He stopped, unable to formulate an excuse. Reba stepped forward, laying a hand on Barbara Jean's arm. Look, Barbara Jean. The truth is I think I went down to the gym almost hoping that I would find you doing something wrong. You know, anything. So I could feel superior to you and your skinny butt. So, I am sorry. Barbara Jean sniffled, wiping away a tear. Sorry? Yeah, Reba confirmed gently. Suddenly, a brilliant, radiant smile broke across Barbara Jean's face. The storm clouds parted instantly. This is great. For the first time since we have known each other, you want to be me. Reba recoiled instantly, the sentimental moment completely shattered. I do not want to be you. Barbara Jean clapped her hands together, practically bouncing on her toes. I know. It is even better. You want to look like me. She spun around and skipped toward the front door, leaving a trail of exuberant energy behind her. Hey, where are you going? Brock called out, thoroughly confused by the sudden change in mood. Just going to go grab something to eat. Barbara Jean chimed happily as she opened the door. I will see you next year. The door clicked shut behind her. Reba and Brock stood in the quiet living room, processing the emotional whiplash of the last 5 minutes. Upstairs, the atmosphere was entirely different. Van was sitting on the edge of the bed in their room, staring blankly at the television. He looked lost, a golden retriever who had misplaced his favorite tennis ball. Hey, buddy, he muttered to himself. What are we watching? He answered his own question. No, we are not. Want a rock, paper, scissor for it? Let us go. You are going to pick scissors, are not you? Get out. He threw a pillow across the room in frustration. He missed Cheyenne terribly, and he hated that he had made her feel inadequate. The bedroom door creaked open slowly. "Hey, honey," a soft voice said. Van jumped up, relief washing over his face. "Hey, baby, I need to talk to you." Cheyenne stepped fully into the room. She was wearing a long, dramatic blonde wig that looked entirely unnatural, and a brightly colored outfit that clashed horribly. She looked uncomfortable and incredibly sad. "Oh, honey, I just got the TV," she mumbled, avoiding his eyes. "Well, I started thinking that maybe you do not think of me as new pretty because I do not do enough to keep your interest." Van's heart broke. He rushed toward her, grabbing her hands. "No, honey, you were way hot. Guilty." Cheyenne shook her head, tears threatening to spill over. "But anyway, I thought that maybe I should, change my look every now and then just to keep things fresh. So, I bought a wig." Van gently reached up and lifted the ridiculous wig off her head, tossing it onto the bed. He smoothed down her natural hair, looking deeply into her eyes. His voice, usually loud and boisterous, was incredibly tender and soft. "Cheyenne, put that down. Listen to me. I think it is a good thing that when I look at you, I do not see the beautiful girl with the killer bod." Cheyenne's breath hitched. She looked at him, terrified of what he might say next. Van smiled, a slow, incredibly warm smile that reached all the way to his eyes. "I see my wife, and I am attracted to her whether she is all dressed up, ready to go out, or just sitting on the couch wearing those washed-up flannel pajamas." Cheyenne sniffled, a tiny glimmer of hope returning to her eyes. "Really?" "Yeah," Van said firmly, pulling her into a tight embrace. "You are beautiful to me because of who you are." Cheyenne rested her head against his chest, finally feeling safe and secure again. I feel kinda stupid." Van kissed the top of her head, holding her tighter. "That is also who you are, and I love it." He stepped back, a playful glint returning to his eye. He offered her his arm. "Come on, you." Cheyenne smiled, wiping a stray tear from her cheek. "Where are we going?" Van winked dramatically. "Oh, we are going upstairs." Cheyenne laughed, swatting his arm playfully. "Hold on. I thought you did not want me to leave you alone." Van pulled her close, whispering in her ear. "Sometimes I want to feel new pretty." The morning sun filtered through the sheer curtains of the kitchen window, casting long, golden geometric patterns across the hardwood floor. It was the kind of morning that usually promised peace, a rare commodity in a household that was constantly buzzing with the chaotic, beautiful symphony of family life. Yet, on this particular morning, a palpable tension hung in the air, hovering right above the kitchen island where the remnants of breakfast usually sat. Today, there were no remnants. There was nothing at all. Standing by the empty pantry, her hands planted firmly on her hips, was a young woman whose expression was a mixture of absolute awe and mild terror. She stared into the cavernous depths of the food cabinet as if expecting a goblin to jump out. "That woman is out of control," she whispered, shaking her head slowly. Her voice carried the weight of someone who had just witnessed a natural disaster. "She is like a locust. She has eaten everything in the house." Beside her, leaning casually against the polished granite countertop, stood a young man. He possessed a good-natured, boyish charm, the kind that usually shielded him from the harsh realities of household management. He peered over her shoulder, his eyes widening in agreement. "She has eaten everything in Mr. H's house," he confirmed, his voice hushed with a similar sense of disbelief. He reached out and picked up 2 small glass containers from the center of the table. He tipped them upside down, proving his point with dramatic flair. "Look, even the salt and pepper shakers are empty." The young woman sighed, a heavy, burdened sound. "Why do not you just tell her she has eaten too much?" The young man recoiled as if he had been physically struck. His eyes darted around the room, ensuring the subject of their conversation was nowhere to be seen. "You tell her," he countered swiftly. "No, you tell her," she shot back, crossing her arms over her chest, forming an impenetrable barrier of refusal. He straightened his posture, recognizing that negotiations had broken down and it was time for the ultimate, undisputed method of conflict resolution. He held out one hand, palm flat, and formed a fist with the other. "Rock, paper, scissors." She rolled her eyes, already anticipating her victory. "Ben, you know you are going to lose." "Not this time," he said, his voice brimming with false confidence. He began the sacred, rhythmic pumping of his fist. 1, 2, 3. As their hands descended on the final count, the outcome was revealed. She laid her hand flat, representing paper. He held out 2 fingers, extended in a V shape. "Scissors." "Dang it!" she exclaimed, her frustration bubbling over. "How do you always beat me?" A smug, triumphant smile spread across his face, illuminating his features with the pure joy of a hard-won victory. "Because you always pick scissors." "Of course I do," she defended herself, her cheeks flushing slightly. "It is my system, so you will tell her?" His smile vanished instantly, replaced by a look of sheer panic. The realization of what he had just agreed to hit him like a cold splash of water. "Yeah, fine," he mumbled, before his courage completely gave way. "No, I do not want to." "You tell her," she pleaded, sensing his retreat and pressing her advantage. "Come on, you tell her. Please, please, please." He shook his head vigorously, his hands raised in surrender. "No, Ben. Why should I tell her? Because girls can say that kind of stuff without having to come across like all they care about are looks." He paused, his gaze softening as he looked at her. A genuine smile touched his lips, completely unrelated to the current crisis. "By the way, you have been looking hot lately." She blushed deeper, a shy, pleased smile breaking through her annoyance. "Oh, you." Before their sweet moment could fully blossom, the heavy oak front door swung open with a familiar, energetic creak. The atmosphere in the kitchen shifted immediately, anticipating the arrival of the family matriarch. "Look, sweetie, why do not I tell her?" she whispered quickly. "Thank you," he breathed out, profoundly relieved. Footsteps echoed down the hallway, purposeful and rhythmic. "Hey, hey, hey!" a vibrant voice called out, preceding the woman who marched into the kitchen carrying a massive, flat cardboard box as if it were a prized trophy. Reba, a woman whose life was a testament to resilience, humor, and endless patience, set the box down on the island with a triumphant thud. "Guess who Luigi gave the free pizza to?" Reba announced, her eyes sparkling with the thrill of a bargain. She wiped a stray lock of auburn hair from her forehead. "Luigi does not have to roll it out of the bed every morning." The young woman looked at the greasy cardboard box, then back at Reba, her expression sympathetic but weary. "You know, Mom, we really do not need another pizza." Reba paused, her hand resting on the lid. She looked around the spacious kitchen, suddenly acutely aware of the quietness. "I mean, it is really just the 3 of us." "Oh, I know," Reba said, waving a hand dismissively, her practical nature overriding any sense of dietary restraint. "But I had to take it. It was free. Somebody will eat it." From the doorway, a voice echoed, "Dibs." Reba turned, her maternal instincts already evaluating the situation. "You know what, Mom?" the young woman began again, her tone shifting to one of gentle concern. "I am thinking maybe we should all try and get a little healthier around here." Reba looked genuinely bewildered. She placed a hand over her heart. "What are you talking about? I am very healthy." Suddenly, a loud commotion erupted from the living room. It sounded like a struggle between a wild animal and a very stubborn piece of furniture. A man's voice, laced with frustration and desperation, rang out clearly. "All right, that is it, Mrs. H. Drop it, Mrs. H. Drop it, drop it, drop it, drop it." Reba rushed toward the living room archway, her heart pounding. The man was standing near the sofa, his face flushed. "Mrs. H, I cannot stand to see you do this to yourself," he pleaded, his voice cracking with genuine distress. "It is like you are trying to eat yourself to death. Why? What happened to you?" Before anyone could answer his dramatic, existential question, the front door burst open once more. This time, it was not a quiet entrance. It was an explosion of energy, light, and startling transformation. "You-hoo, I am here." The voice belonged to Barbara Jean, but the person standing in the doorway looked entirely different. The woman who had once been known for her comfortable, soft edges and perpetual snacking was gone. In her place stood a remarkably slender, radiant figure, practically vibrating with a newfound, irrepressible vitality. "And I am thin," Barbara Jean announced, throwing her arms wide open to embrace the stunned silence of the room. The man stared, completely, utterly dumbfounded. "Yeah," he finally managed to whisper, his brain struggling to process the visual information. "Thin is a stick, and dumb is one." "Yikes," another voice muttered from the corner. "What is eating Cooper grape? Look at that. They look like the number 10. Reba blinked hard, her mind reeling. She closed her eyes for a brief second, wishing for a reset. Oh, thank God it was just a nightmare. But as she opened them again, the vision remained. "You-hoo, I am here, and I am thin," Barbara Jean repeated, seemingly unaware of the shockwaves she was sending through the family ecosystem. "And the nightmare continues," Reba murmured under her breath, as she looked at this newly transformed woman. A familiar melody began to play softly in the back of her mind, an anthem of her own life's journey. It was a silent song of perseverance. "My roots are planted in the past, though my life is changing fast. Who I am is who I want to be. A single mom who works too hard, who loves her kids and never stops. With gentle hands and the heart of a fighter. I am a survivor." The silent reverie was broken by a demanding voice from the kitchen table. "Mom, make us some pancakes." Reba shook her head, snapping back to reality. "No, I am making everyone a power smoothie. And this afternoon, I am taking a power walk." A scoff echoed through the room. "Power walk? Oh, forget your power cane." "Van, that is not nice," Shan scolded gently, though a smile tugged at her lips. "Mom does aerobics." "She could shatter her hip?" Van pointed out with a remarkable lack of tact. Reba leveled a chilling, yet deeply loving, glare at him. "And yet, in the blink of an eye, I can make you both homeless." Just then, Barbara Jean practically skipped into the kitchen, a whirlwind of positive energy and newly tailored fabric. "Hey, everybody!" Reba sighed, sliding a plate across the counter. "I am here and I am." "Oh, shut up and have a donut." Barbara Jean looked at the sugary pastry as if it were a live grenade. "Oh, Reba, you are not still trying to lose weight by drinking those power smoothies, are you? Jordan, my trainer, says that those are loaded with hidden carbs." Reba gripped the edge of the counter, summoning her deepest reserves of patience. "Barbara Jean, I am all for adopting a healthy new lifestyle, but seriously, there has to be some sort of..." She trailed off, noticing the young man staring unblinkingly at their guest. She snapped her fingers in front of his face. "Will you stop staring at her?" Van blinked, seemingly pulled out of a deep trance. "What? We have been staring at her for like the past 2 hours. Well, she is pretty." Barbara Jean beamed, soaking in the compliment like a flower absorbing sunlight. "I am pretty." Reba rolled her eyes, but a fond smile softened her features. Well, of course you are. You have always been pretty, but she is new pretty. Cheyenne leaned over and playfully swatted Van's arm. Oh, Van. That is such a funny story you can tell to your next wife. Van looked genuinely confused, his innocent nature entirely missing the sharp edge of the joke. He turned back to Barbara Jean, his eyes wide with sincere admiration. Van, you really think that I am new pretty? Oh, yeah. Van nodded enthusiastically, searching his limited vocabulary for the highest possible compliment. You are like a bleached-out Halle Berry. Barbara Jean clasped her hands over her heart, deeply moved. Thank you. You are welcome, Van replied, completely satisfied with his contribution to the conversation. I am going to go make some calls. He turned and ambled out of the room, completely oblivious to the trail of awkwardness he left behind. Reba poured the thick, green liquid from the blender into a tall glass, grimacing slightly at the earthy smell. So, Barbara Jean, the man said, clearing his throat awkwardly as he tried to navigate this new dynamic. Yeah? Is it true that when you lose a bunch of weight, you want to do, you know? He made a vague, bounding gesture with his hands. Bounce, ka-bounce. Van! Cheyenne gasped, her face turning crimson with embarrassment. Van, having wandered back into the room to fetch an apple, paused. He looked at Cheyenne, his heart melting at her distress. He walked over and wrapped his arms securely around her waist, burying his face in her neck. Oh, Cheyenne, do not be upset. You are still hot. He pulled back and looked deeply into her eyes, wanting to offer her a compliment equal to the one he gave their guest. You are like a bleached-out Jan Brady, January Jan Brady. Cheyenne groaned, burying her face in her hands. Barbara Jean, feeling entirely confident, struck a pose by the refrigerator. I am Marcia. Marcia, Marcia, Marcia. The kitchen erupted into a symphony of groans and laughter. Despite the chaos, there was an underlying warmth, a deeply rooted love that held this unconventional family together. Later that morning, the kitchen had quieted down. The breakfast dishes were stacked neatly in the sink, and the golden sunlight had shifted, pooling onto the small breakfast table where Reba sat, courageously attempting to finish her dense, green power smoothie. Barbara Jean bounced into the room, wearing sleek, dark athletic wear that highlighted her new physique. She leaned against the table, her eyes sparkling with excitement. So, Reba, I got an idea, Barbara Jean began, her voice practically singing. You should come down to the gym and meet Jordan, my trainer. Seriously, he will change your life. She gestured emphatically with her hands. I mean, he is so much more than a personal trainer. He taught me how to work out and eat right. Reba took a slow, agonizing sip of her green drink, her expression flat. We go over the clothes I am going to wear, the movies I am going to see, Barbara Jean continued, listing the benefits as if she were reading from a promotional brochure. Reba paused, her cup halfway to the table. She raised a skeptical eyebrow. Whoa, the movies you are going to see? What has that got to do with you getting in shape? Barbara Jean waved her hand airily, entirely unconcerned by the logical leap. Oh, nothing. We just have the same sense of humor. That Tim Allen just kills us. I mean, whether he is playing a dog or Santa Claus, you just buy it. So, you will come meet Jordan. Reba pushed the glass away, finally conceding defeat to the awful beverage. No. Barbara Jean pouted, her lower lip jutting out in a perfectly practiced display of disappointment. Oh, come on, Reba. I want my best girlfriend to meet my best boyfriend. She froze, her eyes widening in sudden panic. She clamped a hand over her mouth. Boyfriend? Oh, whoops. That came out wrong. Oh. Reba sighed, shaking her head. The slip of the tongue was concerning, but Reba chose to focus on the immediate victory of avoiding a workout. Well, thanks anyway. but I am just going to be here with my smoothie. Delicious, just like fruit gravy. Just then, Brock walked into the kitchen. He was a man struggling with the shifting sands of middle age and the sudden, dramatic transformation of the woman he loved. He carried a sense of nervous energy, his eyes immediately seeking out Barbara Jean. "Oh, hey, Barbara Jean," Brock said, his voice attempting a casual tone that fell entirely flat. "Here you are. Listen, how would you like to go out and grab a quick lunch? Just the two of us?" Barbara Jean looked at him, her expression a mix of pity and absolute resolve. "Oh, honey, I cannot. I am going to the gym." Brock's shoulders slumped visibly. He took a step closer, adopting a pleading posture. "Well, cannot you skip it just this once? Come on. I will take you to that romantic French place you like so much." Barbara Jean gasped softly, but her commitment to her new lifestyle remained unbroken. "Really? Skip the gym and eat French food? No confondu bras." She patted his cheek affectionately and practically danced out of the kitchen, her mind already on the treadmill. Brock stood frozen for a moment, staring at the empty doorway. He turned to Reba, his face a portrait of profound misery and insecurity. "Man, she blew me off again. All she wants to do is go down to the gym and spend time with Jordan, her trainer." Reba leaned back in her chair, observing the flustered man before her. "Exactly. Frankly, I like the new but the new attitude not so much." Brock scowled, his defense mechanisms kicking into high gear. "Oh, that is really funny coming from the old but." He paced across the kitchen floor, his hands shoved deep into his pockets. "Jordan is so great. Jordan is so toned and funny. Well, I got news for you. Nobody is toned and funny." Reba could not help but smile a little at his frantic state. "Rob, you are overreacting." Brock stopped pacing and planted his feet, leaning across the kitchen island. His eyes were wide with a paranoia that was slowly consuming his rational thought. "Oh, really? Yeah. I think she might be having an affair with this guy. Barbara Jean with her trainer? I mean, sure. He is probably a better man than you are, better looking and younger. But..." He trailed off, clearly not comforted by his own analysis. He looked at Reba, his expression turning desperate. "That is it. Reba, I need you to help me out." Reba instantly held up both hands, forming a physical barrier against his impending request. "No. I want you to go down to the gym and see if there is anything going on," Brock pressed, completely ignoring her refusal. "You know, spy on him for me." "No way," Reba stated firmly, standing up to emphasize her point. "You know, Barbara Jean may have a long list of faults, and I have that list if you need a copy. But she is nothing if not faithful." Brock paced again, running a hand nervously through his hair. "Yeah, right, up until now. But now that she is thin and hot, she has all kinds of options." Reba walked around the counter, softening her approach. She understood his fear, even if she found his methods ridiculous. She placed a comforting hand on his arm. "Look, Brock, if it is worrying you that much, be honest with her. Tell her how you feel. Tell her that you just need a hug every now and then." Brock stared at her as if she had just suggested he speak to Barbara Jean in ancient Greek. "Oh, now there is a great idea. See? Why, since my competition is a macho, muscular dude, I should go the other way and appear all weak and whiny. Your solutions are ridiculous. Reba makes me to spy on those. Stupid." He stormed out of the kitchen, leaving a trail of anxious energy in his wake. Reba stood alone in the quiet kitchen, staring at the empty archway. She sighed deeply, shaking her head at the sheer foolishness of men. She muttered to herself, her voice a mix of exasperation and deep affection. "Hard to believe they are supposed to be good for you." The afternoon sun blazed bright outside, but inside the house, the emotional temperature was a complex mix of confusion, jealousy, and misguided concern. Reba found Van sitting in the living room, flipping aimlessly through a magazine. "Hey, Mrs. H," Van said brightly, looking up as she entered. "You off for your power walk?" He closed the magazine, his face breaking into a wide, affectionate grin. "Man, I love old people. Power walking, moving along, swinging their arms, like there is a big sale for false teeth." Reba stopped dead in her tracks, fixing him with a look that would have withered a lesser man. Van, however, remained happily oblivious. "No, I am not going for my power walk," Reba replied, her tone crisp. "This whole physical thing is getting everybody acting wacko." Van tilted his head, genuinely curious. "What do you mean?" Reba sat down on the edge of the sofa, rubbing her temples. "Well, your dad thinks that the guy who gave Barbara Jean her new body is wanting to take a forespin." Van nodded slowly, processing the information with the solemnity of a seasoned philosopher. "He probably does." Reba looked at him, surprised by his immediate agreement. "What are you talking about?" Van leaned forward, adopting a conspiratorial tone. "Guys are pigs. They are dogs. They are all animals. They just care about hot women. They are hot dogs." He leaned back, deeply satisfied with his brilliant analogy. "My point is that when you got a hot lady, you got to keep your guard up at all times." Reba raised an eyebrow. "I used to." Van's eyes widened slightly in realization. "You used to?" Reba felt a tiny, sharp pang of self-consciousness. "No, baby, do not take it like that. It is just that I have grown into a mature, stable individual. That is all." Van looked at her skeptically. He crossed his arms over his chest. "Well, I do not like it, Before Reba could formulate a response to his bizarre declaration, the front door opened, and Cheyenne walked in, looking tired but content. "Where have you been?" Van asked instantly, his protective instincts suddenly on high alert. "I went to get something to eat," Cheyenne replied, dropping her purse on the table. Van noted, scrutinizing her as if she were a prime suspect in a major crime. Reba turned her attention to another young man entering the room. "So, Ben, you think that Brock might be right about this trainer?" Ben sat down on the arm of the sofa, considering the question thoughtfully. "Sure, this guy could be hot for Barbara Jean, but since Barbara Jean is not looking to play, there is no problem, and it is obvious Barbara Jean is not looking." Reba leaned in, eager for a logical explanation. "Why is this obvious?" Ben ticked the points off on his fingers. "2 reasons. Barbara Jean is not good at keeping secrets, and she thinks of you as her best friend. If she were fooling around with this guy, she would be constantly talking about him to you. Heck, she would probably even want you to meet him." A chilling realization washed over Reba, cold and sudden. The conversation from that morning rushed back into her memory. She would probably even want you to meet him. Reba stood up abruptly. "Meet him? Oh." She grabbed her purse from the entryway table, her movements sharp and determined. "Where are you going?" Van asked, bewildered by her sudden burst of energy. "Go down to the gym with the rest of the wackos," Reba declared, marching out the front door with undeniable purpose. Behind her, Van called out cheerfully, "All right, well, keep those arms a-swinging." The atmosphere of the high-end fitness center was a stark contrast to the comfortable, slightly chaotic warmth of Reba's living room. The air here smelled of expensive citrus cleaner, ozone from the machines, and the subtle, sharp scent of intense physical exertion. Bright, artificial daylight poured from modern fixtures, illuminating walls lined entirely with massive mirrors. The rhythmic thumping of upbeat electronic music vibrated softly through the floorboards. Reba stood near the entrance, feeling entirely out of place in her comfortable jeans and loose-fitting blouse. She watched the sea of liquor-clad bodies moving in perfect, mechanized synchronicity. "Man, there is a lot of beautiful people around here," she muttered to herself, feeling a wave of inadequacy wash over her. She shook her head, trying to banish the negative thoughts. You should see them naked in the shower. She navigated through a maze of stationary bicycles and elliptical machines, her eyes scanning the sprawling floor for a familiar face. Finally, in a section dedicated to free weights and padded mats, she spotted her. Barbara Jean was wearing a vibrant, tight-fitting athletic outfit that looked entirely new. She was glowing, a light sheen of sweat catching the bright overhead lights. Beside her stood a man who looked like he had been sculpted from marble. He possessed perfectly styled hair, blindingly white teeth, and muscles that seemed to possess their own separate zip codes. Reba cautiously approached, her heart beating a slightly faster rhythm against her ribs. Oh, hey, Reba. You came, Barbara Jean chirped, her voice carrying over the din of clanking weights. Yeah, Reba replied, forcing a tight smile. The sculpted man turned, his smile a practiced beam of professional encouragement. Hey, Jordan. Hey, Reba offered weakly. Ready to start, Barbara Jean? Jordan asked, his voice smooth and commanding. Yeah, Barbara Jean replied eagerly. Jordan took a step back, admiring his client. Hey, you look great in that outfit. Barbara Jean blushed, a deep, pleased, ready to go out or just sitting on the couch wearing those washed-up flannel pajamas. Cheyenne sniffled softly, a tiny, tentative smile breaking through her sadness. The crushing weight that had been sitting on her chest all evening began to slowly dissipate. Really? She whispered, her voice barely audible. Yeah, Van affirmed, nodding slowly, a tender smile spreading across his face. He reached up and gently brushed a stray lock of her natural hair behind her ear. You are beautiful to me because of who you are. Cheyenne let out a watery laugh, a sound of profound relief and overwhelming love. She looked down at the ridiculous wig sitting in her lap, feeling suddenly very silly. She looked back up at her husband, her heart swelling. I feel kinda stupid. Van laughed softly, a warm, rich sound that filled the small space between them. He leaned forward and pressed a gentle, lingering kiss to her forehead. That is also who you are, he murmured against her skin. And I love it. He pulled back, a mischievous glint replacing the serious sincerity in his eyes. He stood up suddenly, extending his hand toward her. Come on, you. Cheyenne looked at his outstretched hand, a genuine, joyful smile finally fully blooming on her face. She took his hand, letting him pull her gently to her feet. Where are we going? She asked, her voice light and teasing. Oh, we are going upstairs, Van announced, wiggling his eyebrows comically. Cheyenne laughed, wrapping her arms around his waist. Hold on. I thought you did not want me to leave you alone. Van pulled her close, resting his chin comfortably on the top of her head. He sighed happily, entirely content with the world and his place in it. He held his wife tightly, feeling the steady, reassuring beat of her heart against his chest. Sometimes, Van murmured softly, a smile in his voice, I want to feel new pretty. The gentle sound of their laughter echoed softly in the quiet bedroom, a testament to a love that was built not on shifting reflections, but on the solid, unshakable foundation of true acceptance. Outside, the night settled over the house, wrapping the complicated, loud, beautiful family in a comforting embrace, ready to face whatever new, chaotic challenges the morning sun would inevitably bring. The morning sun streamed through the wide windows of the suburban kitchen, casting long, golden rectangles across the polished hardwood floor. It was a typical day in the household, filled with the familiar, comforting hum of a family waking up to face the world. However, an unexpected crisis was brewing over by the pantry. Van stood with the pantry door swung wide open, his eyes scanning the barren wooden shelves with a mixture of awe and profound disappointment. He crossed his arms over his chest, shaking his head slowly. Beside him stood Ben, young and equally perplexed by the sheer emptiness that stretched out before them. "That woman is out of control," Van stated, his voice hushed but carrying a tone of absolute certainty. He leaned closer to the shelves as if hoping a hidden box of cereal might miraculously appear from the shadows. "She is like a locust. She has eaten everything in the house." Ben nodded in solemn agreement, his hands shoved deep into his pockets. "She has eaten everything in Mr. H's house. Look, even the salt and pepper shakers are empty." He gestured toward the small glass containers resting on the counter, which were indeed devoid of their usual black and white contents. Van turned to the younger boy, his expression turning serious. "Why do you not just tell her she has eaten too much?" Ben's eyes widened in immediate panic. He took a step back, raising his hands in defense. "You tell her." "No, you tell her," Van countered, standing his ground. He held up his fist, readying himself for the ultimate decision-making process known to mankind. "Rock, paper, scissors. Ben, you know you are going to lose." Ben squared his shoulders, refusing to back down from the challenge. Not this time. They faced each other, their fists bouncing in perfect synchronization. 1, 2, 3, they chanted together. Van threw down his hand with his index and middle fingers extended. "Scissors." Ben threw down his hand, flat and open. "Paper." Ben let out a loud groan of frustration, dropping his hand to his side. "Dang it! How do you always beat me?" Van smiled, a confident, knowing grin spreading across his face. "Because you always pick scissors." Ben frowned, crossing his arms. "Of course I do. It is my system." Van chuckled, patting Ben on the shoulder. "So you will tell her?" "Yeah, fine," Ben muttered, his shoulders slumping in defeat. Then, a second later, the reality of the situation washed over him, and his courage vanished entirely. "No, I do not want to. You tell her." Van shook his head vehemently. "Come on, you tell her. Please, please, please." Ben looked up at Van, his expression pleading. "No, Van. Why should I tell her? Because girls can say that kind of stuff without having to come across like all they care about are looks." Ben paused, tilting his head slightly as he looked at his brother-in-law. "By the way, you have been looking hot lately." Van blinked, momentarily distracted by the compliment. He offered a small, appreciative smile. "Oh, you." Before their debate could escalate any further, Reba entered the kitchen. She carried an air of maternal authority, mixed with the slight exhaustion of a woman who managed the chaos of a busy household every single day. She noticed the two boys hovering near the empty pantry, their faces painted with guilt and hesitation. "Look, sweetie, why do I not tell her?" Reba offered gently, stepping into the kitchen with a large, flat cardboard box balanced on her hands. Ben let out a massive sigh of relief. "Thank you." Reba set the box down on the center island with a triumphant thud. The rich, savory aroma of baked cheese and tomato sauce instantly filled the room, overriding the emptiness of the pantry. "Hey, hey, hey, guess who Luigi gave the free pizza to?" Van leaned over the box, inhaling deeply. "Luigi does not have to roll it out of the bed every morning. You know, Mom, we really do not need another pizza." Reba opened the lid, revealing a perfect circle of bubbling cheese and golden crust. "I mean, it is really just the three of us." "Oh, I know," Reba said, her eyes shining with the simple joy of scoring a good bargain. "But I had to take it. It was free." Ben immediately stepped forward, his eyes locked on the largest slice. "Somebody will eat it. Dibs." Reba watched Ben reach for the pizza, and a sudden wave of contemplation washed over her. She looked at the empty pantry, the greasy pizza box, and then at her family. A spark of determination ignited within her. "You know what, Mom?" Van said, grabbing a slice of his own. Reba held up a hand, stopping him mid-bite. "I am thinking maybe, Maybe we should all try and get a little healthier around here. Van looked at the pizza in his hand and then back at Reba, his face a mask of total confusion. What are you talking about? I am very healthy. Before Reba could respond, an older woman with a determined look in her eye reached toward the pizza box. Reba acted on pure instinct. All right, that is it, Mrs. H. Drop it, Reba commanded, her voice firm and unwavering. The woman froze, a glazed donut miraculously appearing in her hand from nowhere. Drop it, Mrs. H. Drop it, drop it, drop it, Reba repeated, stepping closer. Reluctantly, the woman lowered the pastry. Drop it, Reba insisted one last time. She sighed, her tone softening into genuine concern. Mrs. H., I cannot stand to see you do this to yourself. It is like you are trying to eat yourself to death. Why? What happened to you? What is different? Just as Reba asked the question, the front door of the house burst open with a dramatic flourish. A voice, loud, cheerful, and unmistakably bubbly, rang out through the hallway and echoed into the kitchen. Yoo-hoo! I am here, and I am thin. Everyone in the kitchen turned their heads toward the entryway. Van stared blankly at the doorway, a piece of pepperoni halfway to his mouth. Yeah, thin is a stick and dumb is one. Ben squinted toward the hallway, entirely confused by the sudden commotion. Yikes! What is eating Cooper grape? Look at that. They look like the number 10. Reba closed her eyes tightly, rubbing her temples as if trying to ward off an impending headache. Oh, thank God it was just a nightmare. But the voice called out again, closer this time, shattering Reba's hope of a hallucination. Yoo-hoo! I am here, and I am thin. Reba opened her eyes and let out a long, slow breath. And the nightmare continues. Barbara Jean practically danced into the kitchen. She looked entirely different. The woman who usually wore brightly colored, loose-fitting dresses was now clad in sleek, form-fitting athletic wear that highlighted a dramatic physical transformation. She looked radiant, brimming with an almost overwhelming amount of energy and self-confidence. She spun around, striking a dramatic pose, and began to sing at the top of her lungs, her voice carrying a melody of triumph and survival. My roots are planted in the past, though my life is changing fast. Who I am is who I want to be, a single mom who works too hard, who loves her kids and never stops, with gentle hands and the heart of a fighter. I am a survivor. She finished her impromptu musical number with a bright, wide smile, waiting for the applause that did not come. Instead, Ben turned back to Reba, completely unfazed by the performance. Mom, make us some pancakes, Ben requested smoothly. Reba shook her head, marching over to the kitchen counter where a heavy glass blender sat waiting. No, I am making everyone a power smoothie. And this afternoon, I am taking a power walk. Ben groaned, leaning against the counter. Power walk? Oh, forget your power cane. Van pointed a slice of pizza at Ben, his brow furrowed in defense of his mother-in-law. Van, that is not nice. Mom does aerobics. He paused, looking Reba up and down with genuine concern. She could shatter her hip. Reba shot Van a withering glare as she tossed a handful of kale into the blender. And yet, in the blink of an eye, I can make you both homeless. Barbara Jean, feeling ignored, stepped right into the center of the kitchen, waving her hands to reclaim the spotlight. Hey, everybody. I am here and I am. Reba turned the blender on high, the loud grinding noise completely drowning out Barbara Jean's sentence. She turned it off a moment later, the green liquid inside swirling ominously. Oh, shut up and have a donut. Barbara Jean peered into the blender, her nose wrinkling in polite disgust. Oh, Reba, you are not still trying to lose weight by drinking those power smoothies, are you? Jordan, my trainer, says that those are loaded with hidden carbs. Reba poured the thick, green concoction into a tall glass. Barbara Jean, I am all for adopting a healthy new lifestyle. But seriously, I mean, there has to be some sort of... Reba stopped speaking. She noticed that Van and Ben were entirely captivated. They were not looking at the smoothie. They were staring, utterly transfixed, at Barbara Jean. Reba snapped her fingers in front of Van's face. Will you stop staring at her? Van blinked, shaking his head as if waking from a trance. What? We have been staring at her for, like, the past 2 hours. Ben nodded in agreement, his voice filled with honest admiration. Well, she is pretty. Barbara Jean gasped, a hand flying to her chest in absolute delight. I am pretty. Reba rolled her eyes, leaning against the counter. Well, of course you are. You have always been pretty. But she is new pretty. Barbara Jean turned to Van, her eyes wide with hope. Oh, Van. That is such a funny story you can tell to your next wife. Van, you really think that I am new pretty? Van nodded enthusiastically, completely oblivious to the social nuances of his words. Oh yeah, you are like a bleached-out Halle Berry. Barbara Jean beamed, taking the comparison as the highest possible compliment. Thank you. You are welcome, Van replied cheerfully. I am going to go make some calls. He turned and jogged out of the kitchen, eager to share his bizarre observations with whoever would listen on the telephone. Ben lingered for a moment, looking at Barbara Jean with an awkward, adolescent curiosity. So, Barbara Jean. Barbara Jean smiled sweetly at the boy. Yeah. Ben shuffled his feet, his cheeks turning a bright shade of red. Is it true that when you lose a bunch of weight, you want to do, bounce? Ka bounce. He made a strange, rhythmic motion with his hands, trying to articulate a concept he barely understood himself. Before anyone could react to the deeply uncomfortable question, Cheyenne walked into the kitchen. She looked tired, her hair pulled back into a messy ponytail, completely unaware of the dynamic that had just unfolded. Reba quickly stepped in to defuse the tension. Van! Oh, Cheyenne, do not be upset. You are still hot. Cheyenne looked around, completely lost. What? Reba gestured vaguely toward Cheyenne, trying to offer a compliment that mirrored Van's earlier strange praise. You are like a bleached-out Jan Brady. January Jan Brady. Cheyenne stared at her mother, thoroughly unimpressed. I am Marcia. Marcia, Marcia, Marcia. She turned on her heel and marched back out of the kitchen, deciding that whatever was happening was not worth her morning energy. Barbara Jean giggled, leaning over the counter toward Reba. So, Reba, I got an idea. You should come down to the gym and meet Jordan, my trainer. Seriously, he will change your life. I mean, he is so much more than a personal trainer. He taught me how to work out and eat right. Barbara Jean's eyes sparkled with intense admiration as she spoke of the man. We go over the clothes I am going to wear, the movies I am going to see. Reba paused, the glass of green smoothie halfway to her lips. Whoa, the movies you are going to see? What has that got to do with you getting in shape? Barbara Jean waved her hand dismissively, a dreamy smile on her face. Oh, nothing. We just have the same sense of humor. That Tim Allen just kills us. I mean, whether he is playing a dog or Santa Claus, you just buy it. So, you will come meet Jordan. Reba took a slow, deliberate sip of her drink and winced slightly at the bitter taste. No. Barbara Jean pouted, stepping closer. Oh, come on, Reba. I want my best girlfriend to meet my best boyfriend. She gasped, covering her mouth quickly. Boyfriend? Oh, whoops. That came out wrong. Oh. Reba raised an eyebrow, noting the slip of the tongue but deciding not to press the issue. Well, thanks anyway. But I am just going to be here with my smoothie. She took another sip, forcing a smile. Delicious, just like fruit gravy. Later that afternoon, the kitchen was quiet. The sunlight had shifted, casting long shadows across the floor. Reba was wiping down the counters when Brock walked through the back door. He looked troubled, his shoulders slumped, and he carried a briefcase that seemed heavier than usual. "Oh, hey, Barbara Jean," Brock said, looking around the empty room, his voice lacking its usual boisterous energy. He spotted Reba by the sink. "Here you are. Listen, how would you like to go out and grab a quick lunch? Just the two of us?" Reba turned around, wiping her hands on a dish towel. She looked at her former husband with a mix of pity and amusement. "Oh, honey, I cannot. I am going to the gym." Brock's face fell instantly. "Well, cannot you skip it just this once? Come on. I will take you to that romantic French place you like so much." Reba crossed her arms, raising an eyebrow. "Really? Skip the gym and eat French food? No confondu bras." Brock sighed, dropping his briefcase onto a nearby chair. He rubbed his face with both hands, looking incredibly defeated. "Man, she blew me off again. All she wants to do is go down to the gym and spend time with Jordan, her trainer." Reba leaned against the counter, a sympathetic smile playing on her lips. "Exactly. Frankly, I like the new but the new attitude not so much." Brock shot her a sharp look, defending his wife out of habit. "Oh, that is really funny coming from the old but." He immediately looked regretful, but the words were already out. He paced across the kitchen floor. "Jordan is so great. Jordan is so toned and funny." He stopped pacing and looked Reba directly in the eyes, his voice dropping to a serious, conspiratorial whisper. "Well, I got news for you. Nobody is toned and funny." Reba laughed softly, shaking her head. "Brock, you are overreacting." "Oh, really?" Brock challenged, running a hand through his hair. "Yeah, I think she might be having an affair with this guy." Reba stared at him, genuinely shocked by the accusation. "Barbara Jean with her trainer? I mean, sure, he is probably a better man than you are, better looking and younger. But..." Brock threw his hands up in the air, desperate for an ally. "That is it. Reba, I need you to help me out. I want you to go down to the gym and see if there is anything going on. You know, spy on him for me." Reba stood up straight, her sense of moral boundary firmly drawn. "No way. You know, Barbara Jean may have a long list of faults." She pointed a finger in the air for emphasis. "And I have that list if you need a copy. But she is nothing if not faithful." Brock scowled, kicking at an imaginary speck of dust on the floor. "Yeah, right. Up until now. But now that she is thin and hot, she has all kinds of options." Reba softened her tone, stepping closer to him. It was a strange dynamic, comforting her former husband about his current wife. But she knew Brock well enough to recognize genuine pain when she saw it. "Look, Brock, if it is worrying you that much, be honest with her. Tell her how you feel. Tell her that you just need a hug every now and then." Brock scoffed, rolling his eyes theatrically. "Oh, now there is a great idea. See? Why, since my competition is a macho, muscular dude, I should go the other way and appear all weak and whiny." He crossed his arms defensively. "Your solutions are ridiculous, Reba. Makes me to spy on those. Stupid." He trailed off, pacing again. He pointed a finger at the blender still sitting on the counter. "Hard to believe they are supposed to be good for you." Just then, Van walked into the kitchen, wearing a bright track suit and carrying a small towel over his shoulder. "Hey, Mrs. H, you off for your power walk?" He stretched his arms over his head, completely oblivious to the heavy atmosphere in the room. "Man, I love old people. Power walking, moving along, swinging their arms, like there is a big sale for false teeth." Reba sighed, realizing her peaceful afternoon was entirely ruined. "No, I am not going for my power walk. This whole physical thing is getting everybody acting wacko." Van stopped stretching and looked at Reba, confused. "What do you mean?" Reba gestured toward Brock, who was now staring sullenly out the window. "Well, Your dad thinks that the guy who gave Barbara Jean her new body is wanting to take a forespin. Van's eyes widened in sudden realization. He nodded slowly, his expression turning grave. He probably does. Brock turned around, his eyes flashing with sudden anger. What are you talking about? Van stepped forward, assuming the role of a seasoned philosopher of male behavior. Guys are pigs. They are dogs. They are all animals. They just care about hot women. They are hot dogs. He nodded sagely, pleased with his own bizarre analogy. My point is that when you got a hot lady, you got to keep your guard up at all times. Brock narrowed his eyes at his son-in-law. I used to. Van looked offended, taking a step back. You used to? No, baby, do not take it like that. It is just that I have grown into a mature, stable individual. That is all. Brock gritted his teeth, his frustration boiling over. Well, I do not like it. Brock stormed out of the kitchen, leaving a heavy silence in his wake. Ben wandered into the kitchen a moment later, holding a half-eaten sandwich. Where have you been? He asked Van. I went to get something to eat, Van replied automatically, though his mind was clearly still on Brock's outburst. Reba leaned over the counter, looking at Ben. So, Ben, you think that Brock might be right about this trainer? Ben chewed his sandwich thoughtfully before swallowing. He possessed a surprising amount of wisdom for his age. Sure, this guy could be hot for Barbara Jean, but since Barbara Jean is not looking to play, there is no problem, and it is obvious Barbara Jean is not looking. Reba crossed her arms, genuinely curious. Why is this obvious? Ben held up 2 fingers. 2 reasons. Barbara Jean is not good at keeping secrets, and she thinks of you as her best friend. If she were fooling around with this guy, she would be constantly talking about him to you. Heck, she would probably even want you to meet him. Reba's eyes widened as the realization hit her like a bolt of lightning. She remembered Barbara Jean's exact words from earlier that morning. Meet him? Oh. Reba practically sprinted toward the front door, grabbing her purse and a light jacket along the way. Where are you going? Van called out after her. Go down to the gym with the rest of the wackos, Reba yelled back as the front door slammed shut behind her. Van smiled, raising a hand in a supportive wave. All right, well, keep those arms a-swinging. The atmosphere inside the local fitness center was a stark contrast to the quiet comfort of Reba's kitchen. The air was thick with the scent of sanitizing spray and exertion. Heavy rhythmic music thumped from hidden speakers, and everywhere Reba looked, there were rows of gleaming metal machines and people pushing their bodies to the absolute limit. Reba walked cautiously across the rubberized floor, feeling incredibly out of place in her jeans and loose blouse amidst a sea of neon spandex and muscular torsos. Oh, hey, Reba, you came, a voice called out happily. Reba turned to see Barbara Jean waving enthusiastically from a stretching mat near the free weights. Yeah, Reba said, approaching slowly, her eyes darting nervously around the room. Man, there is a lot of beautiful people around here. Barbara Jean giggled, leaning in close. You should see them naked in the shower. Reba grimaced, holding up a hand. Hey! Suddenly, a tall, incredibly muscular man stepped out from behind a row of mirrors. He possessed chiseled features, a brilliant smile, and an aura of intense energy. Jordan, Barbara Jean gasped, her eyes lighting up instantly. Hey, Jordan said smoothly, his voice rich and confident. Ready to start, Barbara Jean? Yeah, she replied, suddenly breathless. Jordan looked Barbara Jean up and down, offering a bright, appreciative smile. Hey, you look great in that outfit. Barbara Jean blushed deeply, waving a hand modestly. Oh, well, the other woman is getting kind of baggy. She leaned over to Reba and whispered loudly. Can you believe her? She did the impossible. She lost all that weight and kept these fellas. She gestured proudly to her chest. Reba took a step back, her eyes wide with alarm. Oh, 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 okay, Jordan. Reba cleared her throat, trying to regain her composure. Jordan, this is my friend, Reba. Jordan extended a strong, tanned hand. Hey, I am Jordan. Reba shook it briefly, feeling the calluses on his palms. I am Reba. Jordan clapped his hands together, his energy infectious. So, you going to join us, Reba? Reba shook her head vehemently, clutching her purse tightly to her side. Oh, I do not know. I just think that me and my fellows will just watch for a while. Jordan frowned slightly, shaking his head. Well, Reba, you are not going to get into shape by just watching. You need to sweat a little. Reba gestured vaguely toward the machines. Yeah, but you guys got to understand, it has been a while since I have been in a gym like this, and I do not think. Hello, there, Jordan interrupted, suddenly turning his attention back to Barbara Jean. He guided her down onto the blue exercise mat. Barbara Jean, you really are getting limber. Reba watched in rising horror as Jordan began to stretch Barbara Jean's legs. He moved with the confidence of a professional, but to Reba's untrained and suspicious eyes, the positions looked incredibly compromising. Remember when you could not put your leg over my head? Jordan asked cheerfully, pressing her knee backward. Barbara Jean laughed, a light, breathy sound. Remember when I did not want to? Reba's jaw dropped open. She looked around the gym to see if anyone else was witnessing this spectacle. Is that, legal? I mean, necessary? Jordan looked up, completely unbothered by Reba's shock. It is critical to stretch the muscles out before you exercise them. Yeah. Otherwise, you could really hurt something. He patted Barbara Jean's shoulder. Turn over. Barbara Jean rolled onto her stomach, looking up at Reba with a bright smile. Reba, you need to watch this one. This one is my favorite. Jordan knelt beside Barbara Jean, placing his hands firmly on her upper back. All right, now, this gives a good stretch to the back and chest muscles. Really should do this once a day. Barbara Jean let out a loud, relaxed sigh as he pressed down. Oh, I would do it all day if I could. Reba felt a bead of sweat roll down the back of her neck. The situation was getting too intense, too intimate for a public gymnasium. She fanned herself with her hand. You know, is this one of these gyms that has the heat on real high? I am sweating. Okay. Jordan finally stepped back, clapping his hands. Oh wow, time for some weightlifting. Reba let out a massive sigh of relief. Oh good, that is enough of that stretching. Jordan walked over to a rack of heavy metal dumbbells and picked up a pair with effortless ease. Hello. Okay. Knock this out. Yeah, okay. All right. He began to lift the weights, his muscles flexing under the bright fluorescent lights. Reba watched him for a moment, then looked over at Barbara Jean, who was staring at Jordan with an expression of pure, unadulterated devotion. Reba gathered her purse. She had seen enough. The evidence was clear as day. Brock was right to be worried. You know, I think I have seen enough. Barbara Jean stood up, wiping her forehead with a small towel. So, what do you think? You have any interest in getting a personal trainer? Only if he takes me out to dinner first. She laughed at her own joke. Reba shook her head, trying to maintain a neutral expression. Are you sure, Reba? Seriously, this is one of the best relationships I have ever had. Reba backed away slowly. Oh, I think Jordan has his hands full with you. Barbara Jean smiled, grabbing Reba's arm gently. Oh, you are a beginner, Reba. You will start with Dot. Dot. A woman who appeared to be carved entirely out of granite stepped out from behind a weight machine. She was imposing, stern, and carried an aura of absolute discipline. Yeah, Dot barked, crossing her massive arms. Barbara Jean pointed to Reba. This is Reba. She seems a little tense. I would spend some extra time on the stretching. Dot cracked her knuckles, a menacing smile spreading across her face. Hey, get down there. Reba swallowed hard, realizing she was trapped. An hour later, Reba returned home. Her hair was disheveled. Her clothes were slightly damp with nervous perspiration, and every muscle in her body ached in ways she did not know were possible. She walked through the front door and collapsed onto the living room sofa. Brock was pacing the length of the living room rug, chewing on his thumbnail. As soon as Reba entered, he rushed over to her, his eyes wide with desperate anticipation. So, did you see him? What is he like? Is he little? Could I take him? Brock fired the questions in rapid succession. Reba let out a long, exhausted groan, rubbing her sore shoulders. He is big, but he is not as big as Dot. Brock stopped pacing, kneeling beside the sofa to look Reba in the eye. So, what do you think? Is there something going on there? Reba looked at her former husband. She saw the genuine fear in his eyes, the vulnerability of a man terrified of losing the woman he loved. She took a deep breath, preparing to deliver the bad news. Look, Brock, I was hoping that I could go down to the gym and check things out and come back and tell you that there is nothing to worry about. But before Reba could finish her sentence, the front door swung open. That is it, Brock whispered fiercely, standing up straight. Reba, come on. Okay. Barbara Jean's voice echoed from the hallway. She walked into the living room, glowing with post-workout endorphins. Reba scrambled to sit up on the sofa, her heart racing. She felt terrible for being caught in the middle of this mess. I do not know if they are having an affair or not, but if they keep working out like that, they might be having a baby. Brock's face turned completely red. He clenched his fists at his sides, turning to face his wife. Man, I knew there was something going on. Barbara Jean smiled happily, oblivious to the storm brewing in the room. Hey, everybody. I am here and I am saying, well, oh hi, honey. Brock took a step toward her, his voice vibrating with anger. Do not you hi honey me. Barbara Jean stopped smiling, completely taken aback. What are you talking about? Brock threw his hands up in the air. Oh man, did you honestly think that I would not find out about you and Jordan? Barbara Jean's jaw dropped open. She looked from Brock to Reba and back again, utterly bewildered. What? We were working out. It was perfectly innocent. Brock pointed an accusing finger at Reba. Reba, tell him what you saw. Reba sank deeper into the sofa cushions, pulling a throw pillow over her face. I do not want to get involved. She said you are having an affair, Brock shouted, his jealousy completely taking over. Barbara Jean scoffed, placing her hands firmly on her newly slender hips. Any more than I already am. She took a deep breath, trying to remain calm in the face of absolute absurdity. Okay, Jordan and I are not having an affair. He is gay. The room went completely silently still. Brock lowered his hands, blinking rapidly as his brain struggled to process the new information. What? Barbara Jean turned to Reba, pulling the pillow away from the older woman's face. Reba, do you honestly think I would let a straight man grab my breasts? Brock gasped, taking a step back as if physically struck. Excuse me, he grabbed your breasts. Barbara Jean rolled her eyes, shaking her head in exasperation. He is gay. He was not touching them. He was arranging them. Carry on with your lives. Brock exhaled a massive sigh of relief, the tension leaving his body in an instant. A goofy, embarrassed smile spread across his face. But Barbara Jean was not finished. The hurt was evident in her eyes as she looked at her husband and her best friend. No, Reba, everything is not fine. I had no idea you were so threatened by the new me. The slim waist, the toned legs, the phallus. Reba sat up straight, tossing the pillow aside. She felt a surge of defensive pride. The phallus. The girls, Barbara Jean corrected herself quickly, crossing her arms. Oh, the puppies. Reba stood up, squaring her shoulders. I am not threatened by you. Barbara Jean raised an eyebrow, stepping closer. Really? Yeah, Reba insisted, though her voice wavered slightly. Then why did you go down to the gym? Barbara Jean challenged, her voice rising. What, were you spying on me? Reba hesitated, looking away for a brief moment. No, she sighed heavily, dropping her head. Okay. Yes, I went down to the gym because I thought there was something going on between you and Jordan. Barbara Jean looked genuinely hurt. Why would you think that? Reba looked up, the truth finally spilling out. Because you have changed. I have not, Barbara Jean protested, her eyes welling up with sudden tears. Yes, you have, Reba countered, her voice softening. Ever since you lost all that weight, you are pushy and obnoxious, and you always want to be the center of attention. From the doorway, Brock nodded slowly, whispering loudly enough for both women to hear. Hello? I have always been that way. He paused, looking at his wife. She kind of got a point there. Barbara Jean ignored Brock, focusing entirely on Reba. Yeah, well, something has changed, Barbara Jean. Reba stepped closer, her tone honest and vulnerable. Yeah, the way you guys look at me, I am still the same Barbara Jean I always was. I am just less winded. Reba looked at her friend. She saw the same bright, bubbly, slightly annoying but fiercely loyal woman she had always known. The outer shell had changed dramatically, but the heart inside was exactly the same. Reba realized with a sudden pang of guilt that the problem was not Barbara Jean's new body. It was her own reaction to it. Reba looked at Brock, who was staring at his shoes, clearly ashamed of his own paranoid behavior. I know she might be right. Could be us. Brock stepped forward, wrapping an arm around his wife's shoulders. I am sorry, honey. Reba just got me all worked up. That is. Reba held up a hand, stopping him. She needed to confess her own truth. Look, Barbara Jean. The truth is I think I went down to the gym almost hoping that I would find you doing something wrong. Barbara Jean tilted her head, confused. You know, anything, so I could feel superior to you and your skinny butt. So, I am sorry. Barbara Jean's eyes widened in sudden, profound understanding. A bright, dazzling smile broke across her face, completely erasing the hurt and anger of moments before. Sorry? Yeah, Reba said softly. Barbara Jean clapped her hands together, jumping up and down with absolute delight. This is great. For the first time since we have known each other, you want to be me. Reba cringed, taking a step back. I do not want to be you. I know, Barbara Jean squealed, her joy uncontainable. It is even better. You want to look like me. Reba stared at the woman, shaking her head in utter disbelief. The sheer resilience of Barbara Jean's ego was something to behold. Hey, where are you going? Reba turned and walked toward the kitchen. Just going to go grab something to eat. I will see you next year. Upstairs, in a small, quiet bedroom, the afternoon light was turning a soft, dusky purple. Van was sitting on the edge of the bed, holding a video game controller loosely in his hands, staring blankly at the television screen. Ben sat on the floor nearby, tossing a small rubber ball against the wall and catching it. Hey, buddy, what are we watching? Van sighed, setting the controller down on the mattress. No, we are not. Want a rock, paper, scissor for it? Let us go. Ben held up his fist, a sly grin on his face. You are going to pick scissors, are not you? Van pointed a finger at the door, feigning anger. Get out. Ben laughed and scrambled out of the room, leaving Van to his thoughts. A moment later, the door opened softly, and Cheyenne stepped into the room. She was wearing her old, faded flannel pajamas, the ones covered in tiny cartoon bears. But on her head, she wore a bright, artificial blonde wig that clashed horribly with her natural complexion. She looked nervous, her hands fidgeting with the hem of her shirt. "Hey, honey," she said softly. Van looked up, a warm smile instantly appearing on his face. "Hey, baby, I need to talk to you." Cheyenne walked over and sat down beside him on the bed. "Oh, honey, I just got the television." She took a deep breath, her eyes cast downward. "Well, I started thinking that maybe you do not think of me as new pretty because I do not do enough to keep your interest." Van's heart ached at her words. He reached out and gently took her hand. "No, honey, you were way hot." Cheyenne offered a small, sad smile. "Guilty. But anyway, I thought that maybe I should, change my look every now and then just to keep things fresh. So, I bought a wig." She gestured nervously to the chaotic mess of artificial hair on her head. Van gently reached up and pulled the wig off her head, tossing it onto the floor. He looked deeply into her eyes, his expression mature, sincere, and filled with an overwhelming amount of love. "Cheyenne, put that down. Listen to me. I think it is a good thing that when I look at you, I do not see the beautiful girl with the killer bod. I see my wife, and I am attracted to her whether she is all dressed up, ready to go out, or just sitting on the couch wearing those washed-up flannel pajamas." Cheyenne looked at him, her eyes shining with unshed tears. The heavy weight of insecurity that had been pressing down on her chest all day finally began to lift. "Really?" Van nodded slowly, moving closer to her. "Yeah, you are beautiful to me because of who you are." Cheyenne let out a soft, watery laugh, wiping a stray tear from her cheek. "Ah, I feel kinda stupid." Van smiled, leaning in to kiss her forehead gently. "That is also who you are, and I love it." He stood up, pulling her gently to her feet. "Come on, you." Cheyenne smiled, her heart full and light. "Where are we going?" Van offered a wicked, playful grin. "Oh, we are going upstairs." Cheyenne raised an eyebrow, a teasing lilt in her voice. "Hold on. I thought you did not want me to leave you alone." Van laughed, wrapping his arms securely around her waist, holding her close against him in the quiet comfort of their shared life. "Sometimes I want to feel new pretty." The morning sun filtered through the expansive windows of the suburban kitchen, casting a warm and golden hue over the domestic chaos that had become the daily rhythm of their lives. Cheyenne stood near the kitchen island, her arms crossed defensively over her chest. She stared at the barren pantry shelves with a mixture of absolute awe and sheer frustration. The usually well-stocked cupboards looked as though a gentle but highly efficient storm had swept through them during the night. She turned to her husband, Van, who was casually leaning against the refrigerator. "That woman is out of control," Cheyenne declared, her voice laced with the dramatic flair of a young woman who felt entirely wronged by the universe. She gestured wildly toward the empty shelves. "She is like a locust. She has eaten everything in the house." Van, always the observant one when it came to food, nodded in solemn agreement. He pushed himself off the refrigerator and walked over to the dining table, picking up 2 small glass containers. He held them up to the light. "She has eaten everything in Mr. H's house. Look, even the salt and pepper shakers are empty." He shook the little glass bottles, but not a single grain rattled inside. The silence of the shakers seemed to emphasize the severity of the situation. Cheyenne sighed, feeling the weight of the empty kitchen pressing down on her shoulders. She looked at Van with pleading eyes. "Why do not you just tell her she has eaten too much?" Van immediately took a step back, his eyes widening in mild panic. Confrontation was not his strong suit, especially not with the formidable women in this family. "You tell her," he countered quickly, pointing a finger at his wife. "No, you tell her." Shen shot back, refusing to back down. She knew the only fair way to settle a marital dispute of this magnitude. She held out her hand, forming a tight fist. "Rock, paper, scissors." Van groaned softly, knowing his historical record with this particular game, but he raised his fist anyway. Ben, he called out to Cheyenne's younger brother, who was sitting quietly at the kitchen table, watching the morning drama unfold with mild amusement. You know you are going to lose, Ben chimed in, offering the blunt honesty that only a younger brother could provide. Not this time, Van said confidently, narrowing his eyes at Cheyenne's fist. He took a deep breath. 1, 2, 3. On the count of 3, Cheyenne flatly extended her first 2 fingers. Van, in a display of unwavering consistency, held out his 2 fingers in the exact same shape. Cheyenne quickly shifted her hand flat, covering his imaginary scissors with her imaginary paper. Wait, no, she had scissors, he had paper. The swift movement of hands ended with Cheyenne holding up 2 fingers while Van stared at his flat, open palm. Dang it, Van exclaimed, dropping his hand in defeat. He looked at Cheyenne in genuine bewilderment. How do you always beat me? Cheyenne smirked, crossing her arms again, basking in the glory of her victory. Because you always pick scissors. Van shrugged, defending his deeply flawed strategy. Of course I do, it is my system. He sighed, accepting his fate as the designated messenger. So you will tell her? Yeah, fine, Cheyenne said, before her courage immediately evaporated into the morning air. She grimaced. No, I do not want to. She stepped closer to Van, looking up at him with her most persuasive, endearing expression. You tell her. Come on, you tell her. Please, please, please. Ben rested his chin on his hands, highly entertained by the shifting of responsibility. No, Ben, why should I tell her? Van asked, turning to the boy for backup. Because girls can say that kind of stuff without having to come across like all they care about are looks. Ben explained wisely, showcasing an understanding of social dynamics far beyond his years. He then looked at his sister, offering a completely unprompted compliment. By the way, you have been looking hot lately. Cheyenne instantly melted, completely distracted from the pressing issue of the empty pantry. She smiled warmly at her brother. Oh, you. Van rolled his eyes affectionately, realizing he was fighting a losing battle. He looked at his wife, shaking his head with a gentle smile. Look, sweetie, why do not I tell her? Cheyenne beamed, wrapping her arms around his neck. Thank you. Before the romantic moment could escalate, the heavy wooden back door swung open with a cheerful creak. Reba marched into the kitchen, carrying a large, flat cardboard box. Her energy was boundless, a stark contrast to the sluggish morning mood of her children and son-in-law. Hey, 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 Reba announced, her voice ringing clear and bright through the room. She placed the box on the kitchen island with a triumphant thud. Guess who Luigi gave the free pizza to? Van perked up instantly, all thoughts of pantry negotiations vanishing from his mind. Luigi does not have to roll it out of the bed every morning, he commented, eyeing the box with deep reverence. Cheyenne frowned softly, trying to inject a note of reason into the situation. You know, Mom, we really do not need another pizza. I mean, it is really just the 3 of us. Reba waved her hand dismissively, untying her coat. Oh, I know, but I had to take it. It was free. Somebody will eat it. Van practically dove toward the island. Oh, dibs? He shouted, staking his claim over the unexpected breakfast. Cheyenne watched him, a realization dawning on her. The constant influx of free food, the empty salt shakers, the chaotic eating habits of their extended family. It was time for a change. You know what, Mom? She began, her tone shifting to one of serious contemplation. I am thinking maybe we should all try and get a little healthier around here. Reba paused, looking genuinely confused. She patted her hip comfortably. What are you talking about? I am very healthy. Suddenly, a loud, distressed voice echoed from the hallway. interrupting their peaceful domestic scene. Brock, Reba's ex-husband, was practically shouting. "All right, that is it, Mrs. H. Drop it, Mrs. H. Drop it, drop it, drop it, drop it, Mrs. H. I cannot stand to see you do this to yourself. It is like you are trying to eat yourself to death. Why? What happened to you? What is different?" The entire kitchen fell silent. Reba, Cheyenne, Van, and Ben exchanged worried glances. The sheer panic in Brock's voice suggested a medical emergency of epic proportions. Reba took a step toward the hallway, her maternal instincts flaring up, ready to handle whatever catastrophe had befallen the household dog, Mrs. H. But before she could reach the door, a completely unexpected figure burst into the kitchen, freezing everyone in their tracks. "You who? I am here, and I am thin." It was Barbara Jean. The woman stood in the doorway, striking a pose with her hands on her newly defined hips. The transformation was nothing short of miraculous. The previously soft, round edges of her figure had completely vanished, replaced by a sleek, toned silhouette. She was wearing a form-fitting athletic outfit that highlighted a physique nobody in the room had ever seen before. The sheer volume of her personality, however, remained entirely intact, filling the room with an overwhelming, bubbly energy. Van, staring blankly at the newly slender woman, spoke the first thought that entered his mind. "Yeah, thin is a stick and dumb is one." Cheyenne winced at her husband's lack of a filter. "Yikes." Ben tilted his head, studying Barbara Jean with an analytical gaze. "What is eating Cooper grape?" he muttered under his breath. He pointed toward her legs, shaking his head. "Look at that. They look like the number 10. Reba stood completely still, blinking rapidly. She squeezed her eyes shut tightly for a long moment, hoping against hope that the lack of coffee was causing a very vivid hallucination. She opened them slowly, but the vision remained. "Oh, thank God it was just a nightmare," she murmured to herself, clearly in deep denial. Barbara Jean, completely oblivious to the shock radiating through the room, clapped her hands together joyfully. "You who? I am here, and I am thin." Reba let out a long, heavy sigh, accepting the reality of her mourning. And the nightmare continues. To cope with the surreal nature of the moment, Reba retreated to the safety of the kitchen counter. She began pulling various fruits and leafy greens from the refrigerator, humming softly to herself. It was a familiar tune, a country song about resilience that she often sang when life threw curveballs her way. Her voice was low and melodic, carrying the weight of a woman who had weathered many storms. "My roots are planted in the past, though my life is changing fast. Who I am is who I want to be. A single mom who works too hard, who loves her kids and never stops, with gentle hands and the heart of a fighter. I am a survivor." Ben, entirely unmoved by his mother's impromptu musical performance, pulled his chair closer to the table. "Mom, make us some pancakes," he requested simply. Reba turned off the water in the sink, shaking her head. "No, I am making everyone a power smoothie. And this afternoon, I am taking a power walk." Ben groaned softly, letting his head fall onto the table. "Power walk? Oh, forget your power cane." Cheyenne immediately scolded her brother. "Van, that is not nice. Mom does aerobics." She turned to Reba, trying to be supportive but failing slightly. She could shatter her hip. Reba stopped chopping an apple, holding the knife midair as she glared at her loving family. "And yet, in the blink of an eye, I can make you both homeless," she stated calmly, effectively ending the debate on her physical capabilities. Barbara Jean practically skipped into the center of the kitchen, unable to contain her excitement for another second. "Hey, everybody," she announced again, desperate for validation. "I am here and I am." "Oh, shut up and have a donut," Reba snapped playfully, tossing an apple core into the compost bin. Barbara Jean gasped, clutching her chest as if she had been physically struck. Oh, Reba, you are not still trying to lose weight by drinking those power smoothies, are you? She leaned closer, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. Jordan, my trainer, says that those are loaded with hidden carbs. Reba leaned her hands heavily on the counter, taking a deep breath to summon the immense patience required to deal with her ex-husband's new wife. She looked at Barbara Jean, trying to find a delicate way to address the situation. Barbara Jean, I am all for adopting a healthy new lifestyle, but seriously, there has to be some sort of... Reba stopped mid-sentence, noticing something incredibly distracting. She looked past Barbara Jean to where Van and Ben were sitting at the table. Both young men were staring at Barbara Jean with an intensity that was bordering on comical. Their eyes were wide, their jaws slightly slack. Will you stop staring at her? Reba demanded, waving her hand to break their trance. Van blinked, slowly pulling himself back to reality. What? We have been staring at her for, the past 2 hours. Cheyenne, feeling a sudden pang of insecurity, looked at her husband. Well, she is pretty. Reba immediately rushed to defend her daughter's self-esteem. I am pretty, she corrected firmly. Van nodded enthusiastically, eager to please everyone. Well, of course you are. You have always been pretty. But she is new pretty. Reba let out a sarcastic laugh, looking at Cheyenne with a knowing expression. Oh, Van. That is such a funny story you can tell to your next wife. Barbara Jean, however, was absolutely glowing from the compliment. She spun around, doing a small twirl to show off her outfit. Van, you really think that I am new pretty? Oh, yeah. Van confirmed with utmost sincerity. You are like a bleached-out Halle Berry. Barbara Jean gasped in pure delight, placing a hand over her heart. Thank you. You are welcome, Van replied, feeling quite proud of his descriptive abilities. He stood up from the table. I am going to go make some calls. As Van walked away, Ben slid a bit closer to Barbara Jean, his curiosity getting the better of him. So, Barbara Jean. Yeah? She answered, smiling down at him. Ben lowered his voice, adopting a surprisingly mature tone. Is it true that when you lose a bunch of weight, you want to do, bounce? Ka-bounce. Van! Cheyenne shouted in horror, realizing her brother was repeating things he had definitely heard from her husband. Van rushed back into the room, misinterpreting his wife's distress. He immediately went to comfort her. Oh, Cheyenne, do not be upset. You are still hot. You are like a bleached-out Jan Brady. January Jan Brady. Cheyenne crossed her arms, completely unamused by the comparison. I am Marcia. Marcia, Marcia, Marcia. With the vanity crisis temporarily averted, Barbara Jean turned her full, unrelenting attention back to Reba. She walked over to the counter, leaning forward with immense enthusiasm. So, Reba, I got an idea. You should come down to the gym and meet Jordan, my trainer. Seriously, he will change your life. He is so much more than a personal trainer. He taught me how to work out and eat right. Barbara Jean's eyes sparkled as she talked about the man responsible for her transformation. We go over the clothes I am going to wear, the movies I am going to see. Reba stopped blending her smoothie, the loud whir of the machine dying down. She looked at Barbara Jean with deep skepticism. Whoa, the movies you are going to see? What does that got to do with you getting in shape? Barbara Jean waved her hand dismissively, giggling like a schoolgirl. Oh, nothing. We just have the same sense of humor. That Tim Allen just kills us. Whether he is playing a dog or Santa Claus, you just buy it. She clapped her hands together, looking at Reba pleadingly. So, you will come meet Jordan? Reba picked up her glass of thick green liquid. No. Barbara Jean pouted, her shoulders drooping in disappointment. Oh, come on, Reba. I want my best girlfriend to meet my best boyfriend. She gasped suddenly, slapping a hand over her mouth. Boyfriend? Oh, whoops. That came out wrong. Oh. Reba took a slow, deliberate sip of her green concoction, her expression remaining entirely neutral despite the awful taste. Well, thanks anyway. But I am just going to be here with my smoothie. She grimaced slightly as she swallowed. Delicious, just like fruit gravy. Just then, Brock walked into the kitchen, looking somewhat frazzled. He spotted Barbara Jean and his face lit up with a strained smile. Oh, hey, Barbara Jean. Here you are. Listen, how would you like to go out and grab a quick lunch? Just the two of us. Barbara Jean looked at her watch, an expression of genuine regret crossing her face. Oh, honey, I cannot. I am going to the gym. Brock's smile faltered, replaced by a look of mild desperation. Well, cannot you skip it just this once? Come on. I will take you to that romantic French place you like so much. Barbara Jean's eyes widened in horror at the very suggestion. Really? Skip the gym and eat French food? No confondu brassiere. With a quick kiss blown in Brock's direction, she turned on her heel and practically jogged out the back door, her energy levels seemingly infinite. Brock stood in the middle of the kitchen, staring at the closed door for a long moment. He slowly turned to Reba, who was calmly washing her blender in the sink. He looked entirely defeated. Man, she blew me off again. All she wants to do is go down to the gym and spend time with Jordan, her trainer. Reba dried her hands on a towel, nodding sympathetically. Exactly. Frankly, I like the new but the new attitude not so much. Brock let out a humorless laugh, leaning against the island. Oh, that is really funny coming from the old butt. Reba glared at him, tossing the towel onto the counter. Brock ignored the glare, pacing nervously back and forth across the linoleum floor. Jordan is so great. Jordan is so toned and funny, he mocked, mimicking Barbara Jean's bubbly tone. He stopped pacing and slammed his hand down on the counter. Well, I got news for you. Nobody is toned and funny. Reba sighed, walking over to him. She placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. Brock, you are overreacting. Brock shook his head vehemently, his paranoia in full swing. Oh, really? Yeah, I think she might be having an affair with this guy. Reba stared at him, trying to process the absurdity of the statement. Barbara Jean with her trainer? I mean, sure, he is probably a better man than you are, better looking and younger. But before she could finish her comforting thought, Brock seized the opportunity. He grabbed Reba's hands, looking at her with pleading eyes. That is it. Reba, I need you to help me out. I want you to go down to the gym and see if there is anything going on. You know, spy on him for me. Reba immediately pulled her hands away, taking a large step back. No way. You know, Barbara Jean may have a long list of faults. She pointed a finger in the air for emphasis. And I have that list if you need a copy. But she is nothing if not faithful. Brock scuffed his shoe against the floor, looking entirely unconvinced. Yeah, right, up until now. But now that she is thin and hot, she has all kinds of options. Reba felt a pang of pity for the man. Despite their complicated history, she understood the deep-seated insecurities that were currently eating him alive. She softened her tone, speaking to him as a friend. Look, Brock, if it is worrying you that much, be honest with her. Tell her how you feel. Tell her that you just need a hug every now and then. Brock stared at her for a long moment, completely deadpan. Oh, now there is a great idea. See? Why, since my competition is a macho, muscular dude, I should go the other way and appear all weak and whiny. He threw his hands up in the air in sheer exasperation. Your solutions are ridiculous, Reba. Makes me to spy on those. Stupid. He pointed an accusatory finger at her smoothie glass. Hard to believe they are supposed to be good for you. With that final, confusing declaration, Brock stomped out of the kitchen, leaving Reba alone with the silence of the room. She picked up her glass of fruit gravy, swirling the thick liquid thoughtfully. The peacefulness was short-lived, however, as Van ambled back into the kitchen a few moments later. He looked around, noticing the sudden absence of tension. "Hey, Mrs. H, you off for your power walk?" Reba shook her head, leaning against the counter. "Man, I love old people. Power walking, moving along, swinging their arms, like there is a big sale for false teeth. No, I am not going for my power walk." She sighed heavily. This whole physical thing is getting everybody acting wacko. Van pulled a stool out and sat down, ready for a deep philosophical discussion. "What do you mean?" Reba crossed her arms, looking at her son-in-law. "Well, your dad thinks that the guy who gave Barbara Jean her new body is wanting to take a forespin. He probably does." Van nodded sagely, completely understanding Brock's fears. "What are you talking about? Guys are pigs. They are dogs. They are all animals. They just care about hot women. They are hot dogs." Reba raised an eyebrow, highly amused by his eloquent breakdown of the male psyche. "My point is that when you got a hot lady, you got to keep your guard up at all times." Van puffed out his chest slightly, a look of immense pride washing over his face. "I used to." Reba's eyes widened in shock. "You used to?" Van quickly realized his mistake and held up his hands defensively, his voice taking on a soothing, placating tone. "No, baby, do not take it like that. It is just that I have grown into a mature, stable individual. That is all." Before Reba could fully interrogate him on this sudden burst of maturity, Cheyenne walked into the room, holding a brightly colored magazine. She looked at Van, her expression impossible to read. "Well, I do not like it." She tossed the magazine onto the table with a loud smack. Where have you been?" Van swallowed hard, looking trapped. "I went to get something to eat." Cheyenne narrowed her eyes, letting out a soft before turning and walking away, leaving Van to ponder the complexities of marital communication. Later that afternoon, the house had quieted down somewhat. Reba found Ben sitting on the living room sofa, flipping mindlessly through the television channels. She sat down next to him, needing a sounding board that was not heavily invested in either ego or paranoia. "So, Ben," Reba started casually, staring at the television screen without really seeing it, "you think that Brock might be right about this trainer?" Ben did not even look away from the television. He answered with the calm, rational logic of a young boy who observed everything but participated in very little. "Sure, this guy could be hot for Barbara Jean, but since Barbara Jean is not looking to play, there is no problem, and it is obvious Barbara Jean is not looking." Reba turned to look at her son, genuinely impressed by his assessment. "Why is this obvious?" Ben finally turned to face her, holding up 2 fingers. "2 reasons. Barbara Jean is not